Yeah, jump on if you want. Is it working? Yeah, jump on if you want. Oh, we have to turn that off. How do we add you, Mr. 300? There we go.
What's up, Shane?
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Not too bad. We had an earthquake here this morning.
Yeah, we had two here.
Yeah? Were they very powerful?
One was 2.1 and the other one was 7.7 in Abilene. Not in my, it's not in my area, but somewhere here in Texas.
Apparently, the one here was meant to be 5.8 magnitude. And I ran outside. I ran into the middle of the street. I thought, oh, no, I don't want the house to collapse on me.
Mm.
Yeah, it was the most powerful one I've been in.
Mm.
Yeah. How are you,
I
David?
didn't feel it. I didn't feel the earthquake, but the last one I have felt was when I lived in LA, in California. It was a 4.7, I think. Like all my dishes fell on the ground, and I had like a little crack in the wall.
Yeah, I didn't have any cracks in the wall. They said it was 5.8 magnitude. I didn't have
Mm,
any cracks in the wall. The house shook like crazy. I
mm,
mean, the previous ones that I've ever been in, they were just little tremors. But this one was an actual earthquake. It
mm,
definitely scared the shit out of me for the moment.
mm.
Yeah. How are you, Davy Jones?
Hey, I'm a hick from North Carolina,
Oh, yeah, beautiful.
uh, in the USA, and I guess you're my brother from down under, right?
Yes, I'm your brother from another mother.
Also, I see you have 300 on. I don't know if 300 missed my conversation the other night on another channel uh, about in 1978. I was in a junior in high school, and I was inspired by listening to 300 stories. But in 1978, there was a guy,
Mm-hmm.
Ali Abari. He was from Iran, and his parents were killed in a bombing of some type. And then when all that stuff happened in 1979, where they took over and deposed the Shah, this guy came to America, and he was placed in my junior high. I mean, my high school class, but I was a junior in high school, and I had to show him around. He knew a little bit of English, but I was really inspired by 300 story.
Thank you.
I found out about your show on another show, so I come to visit.
I
It is.
appreciate it. Yeah,
It
it
is
was.
very inspirational. His story.
I mean, I am not the only one, Shane. At that time, so many people have tried to escape. Some people made it, including myself and my parents. But I have to say, there are a lot of people who didn't make it. They got either they got shot or they walked on a bombing mine and blew themselves up or got killed or got arrested. Um, but yeah, it was a really bad time, and um, I've been on so many channels, and I've been trying to spread my information out. What happens back then is pretty much happening right now here.
Feels
All these freedom is taking away. The freedom of speech is um, uh, getting smaller and smaller. You cannot say certain things. Like right now in Iran, you cannot say anything you want. If you do, well, then be aware that you're gonna get arrested and get lashes in jail. That's how it is. And here I see pretty much similar, not exactly the same way, but pretty much similar. What happened back then is happening here.
Now,
that's what
is the
scares
Christian
me.
church growing in Iran?
Say it again.
Is the Christian church growing in Iran, or is it all on the ground?
No, you do have churches there. You have it's separated by neighborhoods and by your beliefs. Of course, there are majority of them are Muslim. Then you have Christians. Then you have Jewish people. Then you have Zoroastrians like myself. It's everything is separated, but you do have that. But it's not that as big as other countries are.
And like you say, if you keep your mouth shut, you don't get persecuted, right?
Right. I mean, I was a kid. It's a good example. I was a kid, and I was supposed to have Ayatollah Khomeini's picture on the side where my heart is, and my dad took it off. He said, "You don't wear that crap on you. You just go to school the regular way, just with your uniform." So, and I got punished in school. My teacher beat the shit out of me. So I went to my
Hang
dad.
on. Your teacher beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, my teacher beat the shit out of me. Yeah,
So you came to school with,
without wearing the picture of Ayatollah Khomeini, and
oh wow.
that's when I got beaten up. Yeah.
How did you feel once your dad had done that to you, and then once the teacher had done that to you
I went to my dad actually after I got beaten up. I went to my dad and I told him that my teacher beat me because I did not wear this picture on my chest, and he grabbed me on my arm and said, "Let's go back to school." And we went back to school, and my dad beat the shit out of the teacher who put his hands on me.
Oh wow.
And after that, he said, "You don't need to go to school anymore because we are leaving the country pretty soon." So
So was this before the war started?
it was in the middle, right after I left the school, like maybe a couple of weeks later, that's when our house got bombed, and I lost, like I mentioned. But then,
Was your dad a big believer of standing up for what you believe in?
yes.
Yeah.
My dad fought in Iran for the freedom, but then he realized, there are
Now you fled Iran. I think you said you went to Germany, or where did you go?
I'm not sure.
300?
300. I'm not sure.
Shane, what time? I got 2:23 on the 22nd of September here. What's the actual time where you're at?
It's 4:23 p.m. It's 4:23 p.m. It's the 22nd of the 9th, 2021, but it's Wednesday here.
Okay.
Yeah. What day is it there?
So we're 2 o'clock. We're 2:20 in the morning.
On Wednesday morning.
Yes, we're
Oh, okay.
2:20.
So you're
It's
about
2:20 in the morning here.
So it's 4:30 in the afternoon here. So you're a good 10 hours.
Okay.
10 hours behind.
Now, last I heard, I think 300. They said he said he was in Texas or somewhere.
I think he's in
Oklahoma.
Texas now. Yeah, he's in Texas.
Okay. So he's probably
Oh, here he is.
2 to 3 time zones away from me.
Here he is.
Oh, sorry. I for some reason I got disconnected.
We thought we lost you for a second.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. And it was not reloading. I had to get out and come back.
So you're in Texas. I think I heard you say.
Yeah, I'm in Texas.
Oh, perfect.
I'm in the.
We were talking about the times. Are y'all 2 hours or 1 hour different from here?
Depends
From North
on,
Carolina.
You're in North
We're
Carolina.
on the East Coast.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's 1:25 over here. I think it should be 1 hour maximum, too, not more than that.
Yeah, it was. It is.
Oh, okay.
What was that?
Yeah,
Our time zones are. He's an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you having to do? Have you what restrictions have taken place around the areas where you are at? Have you got any restrictions where you are? Have you got to wear a mask, or have you got to sign in? We've got to sign in with a little QR code every shop we go into.
You asking me, Shane?
Yeah, well, both of you. Would you like to go first? 300.
Oh, okay. Well, here in Texas, where I am, I'm staying in Amarillo, Texas. That's northwest Texas, and it's a small town, so it's not as bad as the large cities, the big cities like LA, Houston, or New York. You have to wear the mask in some stores, but not in all. Some people don't even wear a mask, including myself. I don't wear a mask either. But I heard that in bigger cities, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And
I think here is it's pretty much like you don't have to. I mean, when you drive to the store or whatever, and then when you get out and you go in, you can put a mask on out of respect. Or, if you don't put a mask on, you definitely going to keep your distance.
mm-hmm.
That's the only thing. It's not as bad as it was a year ago.
Mm.
Well, so it's gotten a lot better in the last year.
This is what happened recently over here. There was like a couple going into a restaurant and they had their mask on, and the restaurant owner kicked them out because he said, "Keep that politics out of my shop." He didn't want them in his restaurant, and I thought that was crazy because usually you hear that people saying, you need to wear a mask if you want to walk in the store or so. But
the way you hear about business, you'd be thankful they even came into your shop.
Right. That's what I thought. It was kind of weird. But compared to other countries, since I have lived in Europe and in Asia, I have heard from some of my friends who do live overseas that they have to provide proof prove a receipt, show a receipt to the police officer if they get stopped or pulled over, that they are not longer than 60 minutes outside because of the lockdowns. Like if you go grocery, you have to show the receipt, and it can't be over 60 minutes. You don't need more than 1 hour to get home, pretty
Oh,
much.
wow. So they actually
Shane,
check the
Yeah, they
receipt.
check,
Have you
check your
have you
receipts.
always been in Australia
Yeah, I've
No,
lived in Australia my whole life.
your whole life?
Yeah, my whole life.
Okay.
Never left the shores of Australia.
Now, as a child, my dad was in the military, so we actually went to Germany. That was where I went overseas. Now, I actually lived in Arizona and Georgia.
So you've
That's
done a
right.
lot of traveling.
No. I would say I was born in 69. I mean, 61. So, 1969, my dad went to Vietnam for the second time. So, in between that time is when I went to Germany and Georgia and Arizona, and then I'm right near a big military base now, and but I was never in the military. Uh, I was
What was it like
I was
having a military father?
yeah. Well, that was the thing. Now I did 30 years of. I worked as a paramedic on an ambulance.
Okay.
And my older brother, he was a career Army guy for 20 some odd years. And my younger brother was a Marine. He's been all over the world too. Um, so since 1969, I've stayed pretty much in the same county area or county uh, where I grew up at.
Mm.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, that's where I came from, actually, DJ. I lived 25 years in Germany, so I'm pretty much German.
Okay.
What was that like living over there?
It was part of it was good, part of it was bad. The reason why it was bad, it was because it took me 25 years to become citizen, and before that, I couldn't leave the country. I was stuck pretty much over there, and that's why when I became a German citizen, I was a flying gypsy. I was traveling from country to country. But other than that, it's nice. It's a very clean country.
DJ, we have a question. What part of so you're in North Carolina? Davey?
Hmm.
You're in North Carolina, did you say?
Yes.
Whereabouts in North Carolina did you say you were from? Lisa Anderson in the chat's asking.
Okay. If
Just a rough vicinity.
Oh, yeah, I can tell you perfectly. Are you familiar with the the 82nd Airborne Division in Fort Bragg, North Carolina?
Oh, so you're near Fort Bragg, Carolina. Yeah, Lisa Anderson in the chat asked.
I live in Fayetteville, North Carolina, which
Okay.
we border the military base. There's actually
so
like
you-
three or four entrances onto the base from Fayetteville, where I'm at. If you remember, like Band of Brothers and all that, they were in the 101st Airborne. That's a different area, but the 82nd Airborne is on Fort Bragg, and they've been in all the major wars as paratroopers.
I don't
Also, the
know.
Green Berets are here. The Green Berets are here.
Oh, okay. You've got Green Berets there. Have you seen military? Has it been any busier over this past 18 months than what it normally would have been? You know, with the military?
Um,
Have you seen any difference?
Not really. It's more. We have the thing about we do have people who's grown up here all our lives, but or since teenagers or whatever. But other than that, we have a lot of people from all races. Asian, let's see, I guess all the military, all the countries' military that are in British, Australia, probably if they're airborne or jump out of airplanes, they probably got a faction here and for training and stuff along with our military.
Oh, okay.
And we have all the races. We have
It's pretty multicultural here too.
All the crayons.
Yeah, it's pretty multicultural here too. We've got Indians, Africans, Chinese, Vietnamese, New Zealanders. Yep.
Well,
We've got lots of Afghanis here as well. Lots of Iranians. Big.
In LA, yeah, I know. Sydney. In Sydney are a lot of Iranians.
Oh yeah.
One of my cousins lived there. But in Los Angeles, you have like every race has their own neighborhood. Is that big? Like West LA, like Santa Monica, Westwood, Beverly Hills, Brentwood. These are the areas where the Iranians live in Los Angeles. Then you have Korean, you have Thai, you have Chinese, Japanese, Indians, Pakistanis, from all over the world. You have people in LA living. There's really a multicultural in Los Angeles.
Davey, do you mind if I call you Davey or David? Which would you prefer?
Either one. David's fine.
So did you say Fayetteville? Robin Ward in the chat just wanted to know.
Fayetteville, right.
Fayetteville, yep. Yep, I'm definitely
There's a Fayetteville, Georgia. There's a Fayetteville, Arkansas. And I think I live in the largest Fayetteville in the United States. It's Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Fayetteville.
Yeah, I never been in North Carolina. I have traveled all over the country, but I never been on the East Coast, Southeast.
Oh, I'm just looking up the homepage.
Now, another thing about our area, we're the strange people that if you get a flat tire, and you're out in the rural area, outside the cities and stuff, you don't have to be a good-looking lady for 10 or 15 people to show up to help you. You could have a farmer help you. You could have someone who's in the city, someone who's been in the military, black, white, green. Anybody might pull over to help you. Very friendly. It's not like you hear in other places where if you actually have a problem, people will stop to help you. It's really a strange area.
You might have a line of men to come and help you.
Yeah, if you're a good-looking lady, you'll definitely get all the
You
men
definitely
around.
have a couple, one or two many hands.
Well, I think if you're a good-looking lady, it doesn't matter what country you're at.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. It used to be like that here, where we used to know all our neighbours, but we don't. I don't know any of my neighbours anymore. They go to work, they come home, they wave. That's it. No hi, no bye. It's kind of sad, really, when you think about it.
Mm.
Is your areas like that?
Where I
Ours has
am,
always been a friendly type environment. It's like I said, uh, you know, prejudices. It's taught. We were not when my dad being in the military. I had black neighbors. He had black supervisors or whatever, and so we weren't able to. We didn't say uh, derogatory statements about people because we would be backhanded. I mean,
Oh yeah,
my parents didn't stand for it. I mean, and for prejudice, and
yeah,
then
no,
uh, but it, it's made my life okay. I mean, because I have respect for all peoples.
yeah. I've got respect for all people. I was brought up in a multicultural society, and I've got a stepsister that's half Thai. I've got a stepbrother that's half Thai. Yeah.
but I think that has a lot to do with where you live, and has a lot to do with the generation. Um, the newer generation might be think completely different than our generation or the generation before. You know what
No,
I
I
mean?
just feel that people just don't have enough time to just be nice to one another. They're just too busy rushing around in this rat race that we call society, and they got no time to even just put their hand up and say hi, or they can't even smile to say, just to smile at someone.
Well, the only
Obviously,
thing is, I didn't understand how easy the Australian people were supposedly gave up their guns. I don't actually understand it because uh, ever since our founding fathers, that's been one of our amendments that we have um, the right to bear arms. We can even
see,
have little militias, you know. But now it's really getting crazy because uh, a lot of militias are getting a bum rap, like you know,
well, they're
and they got
definitely
to be careful.
they're
They
definitely
have to
putting
be
out
careful.
propaganda
Say
towards it.
again.
They're definitely putting out propaganda towards it. They're doing it
Now,
here. Yesterday we had a protest, and it was all about workers protesting against the union that was mandating against the jab.
yes.
So today on the news, apparently yesterday's protest wasn't about that. It was about the right wing, and they infiltrated the workers union apparently, and took over this protest. Like, come on. That doesn't happen in Australia. We don't have a problem with right wing extreme. You know,
Uh
we've
huh.
never had a problem with it. But now they're pushing this agenda. That's what they're going after, right wing extremists. Like, we don't have it. We've never had a problem in Australia with that. It's a very, very sad time we're living in. We're living in an information age of misinformation, basically.
Yeah, our media It really did us a disservice.
I didn't notice it this bad previously, but within the last 18 months, it's just gotten it's gotten so bad. They're just pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. Jab this, jab that, and, just trying to turn everyone against everyone. Why can't we create some love and start celebrating each other?
How about you, 300, being in Germany and Iran and now here?
What
Can you
about
contrast that even more?
what you mean? What is your question again? What you mean by that? Yeah, I have lived actually more than that.
Well, let's just say, in the United States, we have the media, the academia, and the Hollywood playing against the citizenry. I mean, or they got the citizenry duped. How is it in, like, for you in Texas? How is it in Germany and Iran? Let's put it that way.
Okay. Well, I started with Iran. It's all corruption. It's it turned to a communist country. It used to be a free country. We had American citizens living in Iran in the 60s and 70s. Not sure if anybody is aware of that, but that's how it used to be. But when I moved to Germany, I have to say I moved to Germany in the late 70s, and I was one of the first foreigners living in Germany at that time. There was racism did exist back then there, and I think no matter what country you're going to, you're gonna have always as a foreigner. I speak always gonna have some issues. There always be people who don't like this color or this race or this accent or their hair color or so. I have lived in Japan. I have lived in South Africa. Um, this is like my last destination. I live here now for 16 years, and I'm not going anywhere else. But you have this is not about government anymore. I'm not sure if anybody see it the way I see it, because I see it more. It's more about the UN than the government, because they all working together, obviously, because it's all around the globe. It's not about a certain country. That's how I see it.
How are you, Monty?
Good day.
Mr.
Good
Crocodile
day.
Hunter. We got a celebrity in the house. It's the Crocodile Hunter, Crocodile Dundee.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
Hey, what's up, Jeff?
Hey, Sheila. When he goes up there and grab. Hey, Shane.
Finally got it working.
A friend of ours was just showing a video of live coverage of, I think it was live, of down there in Australia. Craziness. Okay. And it was Melbourne.
What was happening?
There's a bunch of, they're out there in riot gear and shit.
They've been protesting for 4 days.
A big building that has steps on it. So I can't. All I got to do is watch just a little piece of it, man. But there's a bunch of people.
Hang on. I've just got to tell. I'll just be 10 seconds. I've just got to tell my kid off. I've just got to tell him to be quiet. All right.
Hi, Connor.
I have
Where you at? CD, where you at?
I'm in Kansas.
Where?
I'm in Kansas.
Like Dorothy and The Wizard of Oz, right?
Yeah, I was just over in Travis's.
It's Monty.
Okay.
It's Monty from the he was on the. You were on the panel for a little while, weren't you, Monty?
Yeah.
Were you under Monty or were you under Siegfried? Dr. Siegfried.
I was just under Monty over there. There's a couple of Aussies that was over there in the chat too. I got to ask Jeff Riddle. I can't think of them right now. One of them's Kathy Grant.
Kathy Grant.
Yeah, I've seen her in a chat somewhere.
I
I just didn't know if you already knew them on the YouTube World side or not.
No, I went into that. What was that channel we went into last night?
That was Diana's.
Dangerous.
Diana's.
No, after Diana's. Yeah. Dangerous After Dark.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was Dangerous.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen any of them. The only person that I've ever seen was Bella. So
I think I was still asleep when I went to Dangerous. Fuck, I forgot about that.
You might have been half asleep at that stage.
Oh, I think I was. I fell asleep there.
Davy Jones was on Dangerous After Dark.
Right.
Yes,
I have a question for Jeff. I want to know if anybody, or actually anybody, does anybody believe that we're gonna really stand up, just like every other country?
It depends what you mean by stand up, I think. I don't think people are going to go around.
What I mean by that is fighting against what we believe for.
See, but the thing is, the right, a majority of them are Christians. So I don't think they'd ever make the first move.
I don't think it matters what kind of faith you have. I mean, freedom is freedom, no matter what country it is, because that's what most countries are doing. They're all fighting for their freedom, and not all of these countries are Christian.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, my chat moved on me. Lisa wants to know what county you're in. She's in Stokes County.
What's the major city around Stokes or near Stokes?
I don't know. I'm just reading chat. If it would just cooperate. Why does Restream do this to my phone? I don't know. It froze up on me.
If you took your finger and probably stuck it in the middle of the state, your finger would probably end up between Raleigh and Fayetteville, somewhere around like our capital. We're probably about 60 miles below the capital, and we're about in the bottom third of the state.
There you go, Lisa.
We're right in the middle of the state.
Must be talking about North Carolina?
I'm near Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Yeah. Well, you named off some of the cities, and I've been to Greensboro, and I've been to Wilmington, and a few of those other places. But
we're
no,
like
Lisa
right
is
in
from
between Greensboro and Wilmington.
All right. Yeah, Wilmington's close to the coast.
It's 100. It's probably about 100 miles. I don't know how to convert that to kilometers. That might be 130 kilometers or something like that. I don't know how the thing, but Greensboro is probably 80 miles away, 80 or
Right.
90.
Well, Lisa Anderson, that's in chat, she's from North Carolina.
Yeah, that's why I was asking what town is near Stokes or the big city or what's close to it. I can't. I don't have a map right close to me, so I don't. Stokes County. I'm in Cumberland County. Cumberland County, North Carolina.
The last one of the last jobs I did there was in Eden at Haynes. I think it was Haynes. It's cotton, where they make shirts.
Yeah. Now, Eaton, the other thing, remember back in, I don't know if you remembered it, but back in the 70s and the 80s, when they had they attacked that guy, family for, I think they were doing a nursery daycare. They ruined them people. And I think it was all just made up.
I don't know. I was just there. We was doing rail installation in their warehouse. She said she's about 40 minutes from Greensboro, closer to Pilot Mountain.
Okay, Mount Airy, the Mayberry, where Hollywood made Mayberry, Mount Airy was Mayberry. You know, the Andy Griffith show?
Yeah. Is there seriously a Mount Pilot?
Mount Airy was, huh?
There's seriously a Mount Pilot there?
I think so.
Oh my gosh.
There's not a Mayberry. There's a Mount Airy.
Right. I've also been to close to Chapel Hill. Mount Olive.
No, I've been all over since I was a paramedic for 30 years. I mean, I took people from all kinds of hospitals to all over the state, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Some of my some of my really old ancestors. Apparently, our DNA test came back and said that our ancestors came from the western part of the North Carolina, in the Appalachian Mountain part.
Well, that's where, and also they got Cherokee, North Carolina, and supposedly the 1,000 miles of tears where they made them march to Oklahoma.
Yep.
Yeah,
they gathered
but
them
we
up.
still have a Cherokee. We still have a Cherokee, North Carolina, and they have casinos up there. They actually have a, I guess, what do you call it? Where they have an Indian nation, you know?
Yeah.
What do they call them? Reservations. I'm sorry.
They're slacking because they need to send me all my checks then.
Well, I think you actually have to be a Indian. You know what I mean?
How?
You're a quarter Indian, aren't you?
No, not a quarter.
No?
It's just different. I think it's mostly depending on where you're at and what tribe you're from. I mean, we have what they call Lumbee Indians in Laurinburg, which is about 20 or 30 miles below us, but they're not a recognized tribe.
Mine's Cherokee, and my great grandfather's mom was half.
Like the Seminoles in Florida.
My great grandfather.
Seminoles is an actual recognized tribe.
Right. My great grandfather his mom was half blood Cherokee.
And they never got recognized.
Well, I don't know. That was from down. My great grandfather was born in Cherokee Nation in Oklahoma.
Oh, beautiful.
But they originally, his ancestors came from the western North Carolina area. Because our great President Andrew Jackson, what a piece of he is. He gathered up all the Indians off of Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Kentucky, or Tennessee, right in there, and some of Alabama, because they found gold in the northern part of Georgia and in the lower tip of the Appalachian Mountains right there, and the Cherokee owned their own land, and they took the Choctaw and the Cherokee and some other tribes and made them go the Trail of Tears all the way to Oklahoma through the winter, crossing the Mississippi.
Robin Ward said she's 18% Indian. Wow.
I don't know what the actual percentage I am, but I still got the dark complexion and the cheekbones.
You still got the good looks.
I don't know about that. I can't grow facial hair worth nothing.
Maybe you need some water and some sunlight.
Dude, I've worked with some Mexicans down in Oklahoma, and the road supervisors come up there and said, "Are you Mexican or are you Native American?" I said, "You're dark as hell."
Well, that's what they say about me too. They think either I am I'm Mexican or Puerto Rican.
Robin Ward says she owns a mountain near Cherokee. All right, Robin, let's go to this mountain, and we're going to declare it Robin's land, and we'll make our own laws where we don't have to get the jab. Deal?
The Cherokee in Cherokee in North Carolina, you have to be over a quarter blood just to be on the roll.
I wonder what's happening with some of the Indian communities, whether or not they'd have to get the jab. I wonder if they're being forced in a lot of their communities.
I don't know.
Be interesting to find it out.
I mean, they got their own police and they have their own government per se. They got their own council and everything. And they're even supposed to have a representative in Congress, from what I remember. And that just happened within the last few years. I'm not sure.
We got a question, Monty, from Jeff.
Yo.
Jeff wants to know if you've still got your tomahawk.
Yeah, I smoke out my peace pipe like Scott McKay. No. Come on. I go around scalping people. No. Look what happened.
I don't know.
We need a clear answer.
I don't know 187's rules, but I do like the rule that don't say really bad things about other YouTubers. That, I mean, unless I guess if they're offending you, take up for yourself. But as far as, I mean, the conspiracy theories going on out there, I think they're just confusing everybody.
Yeah. I think it is. To be honest, I think a lot of it is. They take a portion of reality, and then they skew it with all this false nonsense. Yeah.
Now, Shane, you also got to look at it this way: they're paid to put out a little bit of disinformation with just a little bit of truth, and they're purposely fed that information to spread it out to thousands and thousands of people.
CBC did a thing the other day about some of these prophets, you'd like to call them, I suppose. They're actually being paid by so-called patriot entrepreneurs, but these patriot entrepreneurs are actually billionaires. Have you heard that? What's his name? Frank Frank Stout or Strauss family, I think.
Yeah, that's one of them.
They own
Levi
a
Strauss.
massive. What was that?
He's probably part of the. He's probably part of the Levi Strauss legacy. They make blue jeans.
Oh yeah, it might.
Levi's. The Strausses, Levi and Strauss used to be partners into it, and then now it's just Levi's. As far as I know, I could be wrong. I don't know, but I know there's the Strauss name is still around. Yes.
It
I
couldn't. It
don't know
might
what
not be
all they've.
Strauss.
I don't know what all they've invested in. But
Well, he had this. It's like a Patriot company. I'll get into it. I'll do some research and I'll tell you about it on the next one. But I
Shane,
hate
how
how
old are
they
you?
hide behind these companies and push this false information, and you know that it's false because the crap that's coming out of their mouth. I don't have any rules with this channel. The only rules is I think we just got to have receipts.
How old are you, Shane?
I'm 39. I'm 39.
younger than me.
How old are you, Monty?
I'll be 46 in a couple months.
Oh, damn. You look younger than me. You look way younger
That's what
than
happens. That's what happens when you live in the States and you live in down under.
me. Oh, yeah. We've been bombarded with all these chemtrails.
You
Yeah.
move to the United States and see them. They
I
look like
find
a
it really
freaking
funny
tic-tac.
that
You look up to the
GTA,
sky in
you
the
know the
United
game
States.
Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah.
Have you noticed that in the game they've actually put the chemtrails in the actual game itself
Probably.
in the sky?
Well, see, I don't know if
If
that's a conspiracy theory because you know back in the day when Vietnam was going on and they did the Agent Orange or the DDT for defoliage of the jungles and stuff, and now if they're really I just don't understand. Is it the government poisoning us? It don't make sense. I don't know if that's one of those conspiracy theories. I mean, it's
It
just
doesn't make
crazy.
sense. Because when
No,
you look at,
Have you?
remember the California bushfires that happened in California a couple of years ago, and there was rims of cars melted to the ground, and there was engine blocks melted to the ground. Like to melt a piece of metal, that's got to be thousands and thousands of degrees.
Not
So
really.
how do
Not
you
on
explain
aluminum.
that when a normal bushfire can only reach a certain temperature?
I
Maybe they,
think Mount St. Helens was a good example.
okay, you'll have to go in. I can't remember St. Helens. Oh, Mount Helen,
1980.
is it?
Mount St. Helens in Washington State, where they had the volcano erupt.
Yeah. It blew its top.
The heat of that
literally.
volcano and how it melted stuff compared to forest fires. You know, that's what I'm saying. The conspiracy theories. You know, those are two good examples.
Well, some of the stuff that they say that's in these, chemtrails, like magnesium and things like that, and if they are dropping this, whatever they're dropping on trees, and that would probably explain why they are burning a lot hotter than normally. I don't know.
Well,
I'm
see,
not
that's what
a.
I don't. I thought the government's there to protect us, not to kill us. I mean, if you think about it, it's just crazy. They go from one extreme to the other.
The government hasn't protected its people for decades.
Well, this pandemic's really woken me up, to be honest. I never thought in a million years anything like this would happen.
I mean,
To have
they lied
all
to
these
us.
industries shut down all at once, it's unheard of.
I mean, they've lied to us about how we get into wars and everything else. I mean, even back in Vietnam, the Gulf of Tonkin was a put on thing just to pull us into it.
Oil,
The
oil,
rubber,
drink of oil.
the rubber trees. No one even mentions in Vietnam about the rubber trees and how Lady Bird Johnson owned big old equipment over there in along with while the war was going on and Americans were losing lives, but you never hear anything about like the monetary part about the rubber trees and stuff like that. You know, the resources of that country that the United States was taking advantage of. Not in a. I'm not saying you know it was just that it's hidden from us. You know. And I'm not going. You know, like right now we live on a flat Earth, and but for the last 20 years we've seen people up in the space station going across. They even you can still track the space station if it comes over your area. You can see it, especially at nighttime. You can see the space station go over you. They got apps on there to find it. You know, you can see them doing work up there, but they're telling you live on a flat Earth. That you know, all this stuff is crazy.
What's wrong? 300?
No, I'm just laughing about how David says the Earth is flat.
What? Don't you think it's flat?
No, I don't think it's flat.
If it was round, you'd roll off this. You'd be rolling.
Well, I'm just saying the flat Earth theories these people are coming up with now. You know, it just
Right.
don't make sense.
Well, if that's the case, Columbus would have felt on the edge down then.
Yeah, but that's not it. That's not how they. So how they explain it is it's like a
No,
the
he
outer
sailed from
perimeter
Spain all the way to there.
is like a wall, and apparently, yeah, apparently we're in a. There's an outer perimeter. That's what keeps the water in, and then there's Earth, sort of in. Well, the country's inside it, kind of thing.
300.
Oh, Robert.
Look at it this way. Up in Alaska, they go 6 months of daylight and six months of darkness. So
Right.
how's that?
How is it flat then?
I don't know.
Explain to me how it's not. I mean,
well, every time I put my drone up into the air, I can see approximately 60 kilometers, which doesn't make sense because have you seen the map? All right. You want to do this? Let's do it. I'll pull the curvature calculator up. Hang on.
You gotta
Curvature.
turn on your camera.
Later. No. I didn't do my hair.
If you're pulling up the curvature calculator or whatever,
yeah,
yeah, you got to turn on your camera. You just can't do this by sound.
Well, all right. I live approximately 30 kilometers away from my city, and I can see my city from my house.
Right.
All right. So we'll do 30 kilometers. 30
you
kilometers.
Got your little white chalkboard out?
No, I've got my Earth curvature calculator.
Well, we can't see it, so we don't know how you're figuring this up. Don't tell
My
me if you
brother-
turn on your camera, don't tell me if you turn on your camera, you're going to be upside down since you're down under.
Yeah.
My brother was a field observer. He would be afford and have to do naval, the big guns or whatever, naval gunfire and stuff like that. Or just like snipers and stuff like. They have to take the curvature of Earth into consideration when you're shooting 2 or 3 miles, or whether you're shooting 22 miles from a Navy ship into land.
Trajectory. Yeah.
The trajectory, they have to take in the mathematics is figured in of how many degrees they need to raise and lower the thing. It's already figured in. I think what the people it just don't make sense that we live on a flat
All right.
Earth.
So the curvature calculator says the distance of 50 kilometers away. So 50 kilometers away, whatever is at 50 kilometers should be 196 meters under the curvature of the Earth. But yet I can see that building or whatever it is. Also, have you heard of the Bedford experiment? So the Bedford experiment, I'm just going to pull it up right now. The Bedford experiment. So the Bedford level experiment is a series of observations carried out along 6 mile, so 9.7 kilometers length of the old Bedford River on the Bedford level of Cambridgeshire in the UK during the 19th and 20th century to measure the curvature of the Earth. All right, so we'll go into the experiment itself because it's cut itself off. All right, where were we?
No,
All right.
there's always things on the Earth that's, there's things that really can't be explained. Like the Nile River flows north.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of stuff. There's just like in Africa and in South America and all over where Middle East, where they use pyramids in Egypt, but there's like a pyramid-looking things in Chile, Argentina, or Peru,
Bosnia.
and then there's
China.
and what's the west coast of Africa? There's Easter Island or whatever. I don't even know. It's so confusing that. And like I said on another channel, in 1969, when we went and walked on the moon, they're saying, "Oh, okay, we didn't go to the moon," and it's crazy because you had to have 423,000 people to work for NASA, and they would have to keep the secret. Okay.
Apparently, NASA.
You can't even keep a secret in a family. You know what I mean? How you get 423,000 people to say we're going to fake this and fake the people out, right? You can't keep that secret. It's crazy.
Yeah.
People don't use common sense anymore. I swear they don't.
I can't explain it, but what leads me to believe that the Earth is flat is I've looked at both sides of the argument, and I believe I'm not saying with 100%. I would never put money on it. I would. It just leads me to that determination that I think it is flat, judging by everything that I've seen over my 39 years.
And that's perfectly okay. I can't make you believe what I believe, and you can't make me believe what you're going to believe. But I have respect for you to.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
That's right. It's not like an argument thing. It's more like a respect of your belief.
If you can't, if you can't have a discussion without getting angry, then it's just not worth having a discussion over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure 300. He gave his testimony or his story about his, and I happen to have a friend of mine that actually became my friend, came from Iran in 1978, and I was glad. Help a year later, the Iranians are killing each other, and the Shah's being deposed. It never affected our friendship. It never changed. I was his friend. It didn't matter. I mean, I felt for the persecution of his people or family, but I dislike what the Iranians are doing, but I didn't hate those people. I didn't hate the Iranian race.
That's so
I felt
correct.
sorry for them.
That's so true. I don't hate the Chinese
The
people.
Persian.
I hate what their president is doing to the.
Yeah, I don't know
You-
who was.
Do
who
you
was
know
in
who
the
took the
chat.
Shah?
Who?
Do you know who
I
took the
don't know.
Shah out of power?
No, I'm not sure.
The government, U.S. government, the CIA. Whoops, sorry. The clowns in action. That's 300.
Yeah, that is true.
Seriously,
No,
I'm not
I
lying.
don't know who was in the chat the other day when you were mentioning it, David. But the other guy was saying that they're hating Americans. I completely disagree with that. Is just the government create all these problems, but these innocent people, what kind of hate do they have for other countries? So if this statement is so true, then why am I living in this country? I mean, that's a very good question. You know,
The
these
Persian people are one of the oldest people that had an empire a long time ago.
yeah, we were the biggest empire in history. Yeah.
Oh my God, what's
Yes.
happening?
A long time ago.
Yeah, if
We're
you
having
know
some technical issues.
if you know the history of Cyrus the Great, then you will know how big, what kind of warriors we were back then.
Did we seriously just lose our host?
What happened? Oh yeah, he left.
Shane!
I hope you're coming back, Shane. Don't leave us alone
Hope
here.
there's not. I hope there's not another earthquake. Is Riddle still in here? I seen Robert. Hey, Robert. Uh-oh. I hope he can figure out how to get back up in here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 300.
Yeah.
The Persians now was you all the Phoenicians or did you fight against the Phoenicians? Like way back.
Well, we helped the Babylonians and
Right.
and the Jewish people, you know, and not sure. This is like before Persians. We were not Persians actually. You know, we were Akkadians. But this is a long time ago, like
Holy
7,000
cow, that goes what?
7,000 BC. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we had Sumerians, which is now people from Iraq. You know.
Did you say Sumerians?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the oldest people
On this planet. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, the Sumerian tablets. They tell a lot of truth about that. I don't know how people in chat's gonna. I don't know how people in chat's gonna react to this, but the Sumerian tablets cover a lot of truth about the Anunnaki, Nephilim, and a whole bunch of others.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that is correct.
And so the Dead Sea was supposedly created by it's either Enki or one of them that they had a nuclear weapon, and it went off. And they also was saying that back then that there was no meteor that hit the Earth. It was actually another atomic weapon that went off and killed the dinosaurs. So I don't know. The Sumerian tablets cover a lot of interesting.
The Anunnakis and the Zoroastrians are pretty similar, but a little bit different. Anunnakis have 12 gods, just like Zoroastrians have 12 gods.
Right.
In the United States, the guy who lives in California, Victor David Hanson, he spent his life about civilizations and stuff like that. If you could personally ask him questions, he could probably answer all the questions you're asking. I mean, he's really studied it, you know, all the civilizations and stuff. He's a pretty smart man.
Have you ever listened to Graham Hathcock?
Graham Hancock.
Yeah.
I have, but I haven't got into him.
Are you talking about the Vietnam sniper Hathcock?
No, that's Carlos.
Oh, okay.
That's white.
Okay.
That's White Feather. That was a bad mofo.
Who is it?
Now, is that where that Carlos the Jackal thing came from in sci-fi or whatever it is?
No.
Mysteries?
Carlos.
Huh?
The Jackal, Carlos, he was okay. He was just like Tim Osmond / Osama bin Laden. He was trained by the Clowns in Action as an asset, a mercenary asset, and
like Jason
somewhere
Bourne.
in a way. But the real story is they trained the Jackal, and they had him as a mercenary going around putting people out of disposing of people like the Shah and anyone they wanted gotten rid of. But somewhere in the late 70s, early 80s, they double-crossed him, and he flipped to being a bad guy permanently. And so then he started attacking Beirut, the embassy bombing and stuff like that. Supposedly, is what I've read. Because he did take claim on that. Now, whether or not they just put a hit out on him to dispose of him because of what he knew about the Clowns in Action or not, I don't know. There's always two sides to every story.
Do you know anything about Robert's comment? The Pope wears Mina hat, fish mouth. Anunnaki wore it as well. I have no idea what that means.
I tell you what, me and Robert had a discussion one night on Charlie's channel. He knows a lot of this too about the Sumerians and Anunnaki and everything.
Yeah, I've never heard that before. That term.
What?
A Mina hat. Minor hat. Robert, you should come on and elaborate a little bit. Do you know anything about that, David? My boss's name's David.
Not that I don't know enough about that. I mean, just one of those things I haven't really. I mean, like, now, as far as the Bible, yes, I do read the Bible, and like Isaiah, where it says Damascus is going to get blown off or it's going to face a sort of like a Sodom and Gomorrah type thing in Isaiah, somewhere chapter 17 or something like that. That Damascus is going to suffer a similar fate. Well, it's about that time. It's probably going to happen pretty soon if you think about it.
The Inca. That's crazy. Like Tabinki Teple and stuff like that. There's just so much. Okay, I can't pull it up because I don't have double screens.
But like
David,
like you said, like they say, I think they said they down there in Peru or somewhere, or where the Incas were, or the Aztecs or whatever, where they had
right.
batteries, like a car batteries, or batteries for something. Which, why did they have to have batteries, or even stuff like that? They modern surgical equipment, stuff like it's kind of, it don't look like modern surgical equipment, but and all the people that did all this freaky things to their skulls and stuff like that, it makes you wonder.
The Egyptians had batteries too, and it's what they call today the Iraqi battery or Baghdad battery. Sorry. It's
the Baghdad battery. I've heard of that.
Yeah, the Egyptians. There's hieroglyphs of it up on the walls in the tombs of the pyramids, or in the, what I'm saying, over there, that it shows that kind of same style battery. And if you look at some of the perfectly round holes in some of them structures, some of them are melted, not sawed, not chipped, not cut, melted. Perfectly round circle. How did they do that? How did they lift those gigantic big blocks?
Yeah, I know, and it's mathematically measured to precise measurements.
They didn't do it with slaves putting logs underneath each one of them, rolling it up, and then how did they hoist it up there? They didn't have no cranes.
So you must get into Tartaria.
Well, hang on. There is a...
By the way you talk?
No. There is...
You don't.
If you take frequency and vibration and energy together, what's that do? It causes an anti-gravity field.
Now look at all the information you're saying right now, and then there's people on the internet now griping about the Saturn V engine and the diagrams to it. Okay, we can't figure out how the Incas and all them did all their stuff, and now you're saying we're so dumb we can't. About the Saturn V engine. The Saturn V engine plans are hidden somewhere in NASA, and you're not going to get your hands on them. That's just fact. If we're so smart, then like you say, answer about the Incas. So how'd they move them big blocks? How'd they make them perfectly round circles? If we're all that smart and we can't figure out how to build another engine, it's just not cost effective to find out, or to build using 1969 technology, trying to build an engine when we're smarter and we could be more efficient and build a smaller engine, probably have the same power.
Yeah.
like I say, people don't use common sense anymore.
Oh,
They're
common
easily
sense.
duped.
The
Common
technology
sense
they
is
had,
dying breed.
the technology they had way back in the ancient civilizations and everything else. I don't know when it happened or how it happened, but once it came down to an end, everybody got dumbed down, and that technology got lost for 1,000 years.
But they've done it through social engineering. They've dumbed us down by getting rid of all this. They've gotten rid of religion in schools. They've gotten rid of, well, it's a well-known fact that Australia's mathematics is below the world standard. So what gets taught in our schools at Australia is below the world standard. Maths, English, all below the world standard. But yet we pretend to ourselves that we are one of the leading countries in the world. Australians do.
I can tell you this: there are things that are reverse engineered that would blow your mind.
You'll have to elaborate. It's not very hard to blow my mind, Monty.
There is ships that are anti-gravity that the government has built just from reverse engineering.
Well, I don't know why we don't focus on these and create them into technologies that we can use. Like, I watched two magnets float against each other.
Yeah, like the levy train.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
Yeah.
it'd be a lot safer.
Well, yeah, it's safer. But who would lose their money out of all this? The lumber industry, the oil industry, the gas industry. You know what I'm saying?
See, that's why we
The
have to
tire-
fine tune. We have to go over all our laws and fine tune them, and so no one. First, the law I think we'd have to change is that countries have to invest in their own selves. They can't just invest in other countries and pour money into other countries. They need to invest in themselves.
Okay, say for instance, anytime Big Pharma wants to have a law passed in favor of them, or if someone is going up against them and they want it snuffed out, they go and put like 150,000, 200,000 in a lobbyist's hands. He goes, takes some of that money, puts it in his pocket, and then he goes to the senator that he's lobbying for or towards for Big Pharma, and he gives them a big portion of the money. Money is what has made the government crooked. Our lawmakers, because then our lawmakers go in there and they say, "Hey, Joe Blow over here wants to make this law pass and everything. He paid me good. Here's a little bit of money. Let's pass this." And that's what happens.
Yeah, I just don't understand it, because if I had that responsibility, I could not live with myself for one day if I made a law that was going to hurt someone else.
It's called greed.
Well, just take an Arleigh Burke destroyer. Someone sold the plans to China, or they stole the plans because they now have a destroyer that's an exact copy of our Arleigh Burke destroyer. I mean, you know, and all that's supposed to be top secret and all that. And so how did that happen, you know?
I wonder if McCain was behind that.
I heard maybe that Dianne Feinstein. You remember she had a driver that was supposedly
a spy.
A Chinese spy or something. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah. McCain and Kerry as two of the most treasonous bastards you'll ever hear about. They did so many crooked deals against the American people, it's not even funny. That's why at McCain's funeral you won't see a starched flag. It was all wrinkled.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I
You think
just
that-
brought up on another channel, though. I was trying to, like Travis, I think they're truckers, and I was just asking them what was the difference between when Trump was in office, then Obama, and George Bush, Clinton, and George Sr., and, whatever, the last 20, 30 years,
So,
how was it in the trucking industry? How's it been formed? I guess.
Well, a lot of it got screwed up whenever Clinton signed the NAFTA agreement. A lot of our jobs went south to Mexico, and some of them overseas.
yeah, we brought a lot of jobs in from overseas. So
and nowadays, it's a high percentage that's being done over in China, and a little bit in Mexico. But that's what started killing American jobs is when Clinton did that shit.
So didn't Trump, before he left office, didn't he make laws to where companies they either had to stay in the US or they couldn't sell in the US? Do you know anything about that?
Before Trump left presidency, it was a year or two before, he had made a deal with Ford to come back out of Mexico and reopen a plant back up in Michigan, and it was a truck plant, I think, and it was gonna be like 2,500 jobs or something like that. So that was all set in stone to go in effect shortly into 2021. But since he didn't win the election because mashed potato head, Ford didn't want to honor that agreement, and so they stayed down in Mexico. They kept the plant down there.
I was just trying to Google that, and the first thing that comes up was Trump's economic record, worst job numbers leaving office. They do anything. It's so much bullshit. They just spread so much misinformation about the guy.
Are you on Google or are you on DuckDuckGo?
I'm on Google. No, I'm on Microsoft Bing.
Fuck. They will they'll tell you anything on that.
Oh yeah. Some Australian companies have started to talk about Trump in a bad way as well. Some Australian news broadcasting companies. Well, a lot actually. Who do you use? DuckDuckGo.
Me?
Yep.
To jump up on panel and streaming and stuff, I use Chrome. That's the only way I can. But
no,
for
just like
Googling. For Googling and stuff like that, I use DuckDuckGo. For looking up stuff, I should say, not.
All right, we got any questions from the chat?
I thought it was Michigan, brother. Maybe it was Ohio. But I'm pretty sure he had a deal with Ford to come back up out come out of Mexico to reopen a plant up there.
No, he was talking about business in general. I'm talking about business in general. Apparently, he was rewarding the companies that stayed in America and he was telling the companies that left America, now that you've left America, you can't invest in America. Your products can't come to America. Did you hear anything about that?
I've heard a little bit about it, yeah, but like I said, it was pretty sure it's Ford because he had made a deal with them to offer them tax breaks and stuff like that, and I mean it was a pretty good deal if they would move their operation back up into I thought it was Michigan, but it could have been Ohio, and to get jobs running again in the United States. And it would have been like 2,500 people, 2,500 more jobs or something like that. And
we've got a news.
What?
Have you? So just to butt in. So 2 hours ago, Trump's filed a $100 million lawsuit against New York Times over the 2008 tax story. What do you think about that? Hey? Do you have anything to say about that, Davey?
Oh, it's possible.
No, not really. I mean, the New York Times has been attacking,
Is it the niece?
It
says
for the last 20 years, the New York Times has really got political as far as who they attack.
So it says former president on Tuesday sued his estranged niece and the New York Times over a 2008 story about the family's wealth, tax practices, and partly based on confidential documents she provided to newspapers' reporters. Geez, that's pretty bad. She's gone behind the big man's back and giving him documents.
Now, hang on. Did you say it says the former president?
Yeah, it said former president.
So that's either a fluff story that they have put out, or it's part of another story, because he's never called himself a former president. I guarantee
well, maybe
you that.
They're just referring to him.
But what I'm saying is you got to look at how things are worded, and then you can dissect it to where if it's 100% BS or just half BS.
Read between the lines, you say?
Yeah, there you go.
All right. It's not much writing between the lines, I'll say.
Yeah, well, I know. There's a bunch of hey, look over here, and we're going to do a David Copperfield, but we're doing shit over here in this hand.
Hey, how sad is it about this girl? I wanted to do a live stream about this girl, Gabby Petito. You there?
I don't know who she is, but I've heard about it, about her being murdered or something. I don't know.
Sorry about that. Yeah, apparently she went missing, and the boyfriend apparently did it. Now he's killed himself. It's a pretty sad situation.
Oh, he did come up?
I'm pretty sure
deceased?
That's what's been said.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I'm not touching that subject.
Well, we got to delve into more topics.
Do what, Shane?
Sorry, I interrupted, Davey.
I haven't been following it. That's all I said.
Yeah, I haven't been following either, but it's definitely a sad story.
I mean,
all right, what's another topic we can talk about?
It is. Let's talk about effed up the world is right now.
Oh, Sage News is here.
Hey, now.
I'll just do that.
Are Australians worried about China attacking the Australian continent or island? Whatever.
They've already bought everything down there.
Yeah, we're half owned by China. Sorry.
Say again?
We're half owned by China. They own half of Australia already. I think they're not concerned about it. I think the C-19 is what they're concerned about, but I think now they're starting to realize what's actually going on, and now it's starting to settle in. Hang on a minute, we got to watch out for these guys.
Who?
But yeah, mainly people. There's so many things going on at the moment. It's just hard to keep up with. It's one thing after another.
Gotta look out for who?
China.
Do you believe it to be a biological weapon or not?
Pardon?
Do you believe that to be a biological weapon or just a freak accident?
No, I think I know it was made by man.
It wasn't no freak accident.
It wasn't a freak accident. But whether, I don't know, because there's so much confusion. First of all, it came out.
Do you think they tested it out on their own population and it got out of hand and spread worldwide, or what do you think?
I don't know, because
I think it had some help.
Yeah. Well, do you believe what happened with Fauci, and do you believe that Fauci was involved?
Oh, yeah.
With the WHO, yeah. I mean, he's in the NIH. He was definitely involved in WHO.
What other countries involved with that, though?
Yeah, but
just China.
He helped fund this program.
Yeah, but where did the funding money come from? What other country is involved with this other than China? Who gets bombarded by their neighbors nightly?
Israel?
Yep.
So what are you trying to say?
Israel's advanced technology, they got some smart people over there. They have things it's unbelievable.
But how do we know that this isn't just the flu and they're just testing for something else that's in the flu and focusing on that?
But the last 2 years, there ain't been no flu. There ain't been no cancer. There ain't been no heart attacks. There ain't been no. It killed it all. There ain't no common cold no more.
So strange. Where did the flu go? Did it just disappear?
No, because this is part of it. It's just a cover up for it.
Yeah, that's what I believe. I just can't figure out the connections behind it.
Don't get me wrong. I think that someone has went in and tampered with this stuff, but when the numbers don't add up, whenever it's a 98.8 survivable disease, anyways, you should not even have to have a vaccine for it.
That's what I keep on telling people. More people die from heart attacks. Every 10 seconds, a person dies in America of a heart attack. Should we have a vaccine for heart attacks? Should we have a vaccine for heart attacks in Australia? A person dies every 10 minutes in Australia of heart attacks. It's craziness.
You want to know why? On the heart attacks? That's
where the scare tactics are coming with like I said, the mainstream media, academia, and Hollywood. When they control those three aspects of our lives, 1/3 of the population is is duped or don't care about anything political or anything that affects their lives. As long as they get that check in the mail or they're in grandmother's basement playing video games, they're just out of tune with the world. They don't care.
I don't care about anything. All I care about is my son's future and everyone else's future. That's the only thing I care about. If I leave this world and I make some sort of change in the right way, I'll be a happy man. But I'm not going to sit around and do nothing. That's for sure. It's yeah.
Dangerous Freedom show last night, I think I said that there was a guy who went to a college campus, one of the Ivy League schools, and he was undercover trying to get, he was saying he was trying to get funding for Hamas, Hezbollah, whatever, Palestinians or whatever. Would people mind giving money to help those poor people out against Israel? And those college students were eating it up, and going to give their money or their parents' money to whatever, but they weren't even thinking. It's just, you're talking about giving money to a terrorist organization, and they're like on board with it. It's just, they don't know that they don't have common sense.
It's definitely lacking in today's generation.
Say again?
It's definitely lacking common sense.
Especially when they're asking you to give money to fund those terrorist organizations, and you don't even realize it's a terrorist organization that the person is talking about. Like they do the man on the street things with Jay Leno. They used to do people show pictures of somebody and say, do you know who this is? And it'd be the vice president of the United States. The people don't know who they are, or, pictures and stuff like that. It's just like they're so out of touch. They're not even taught in school anymore about simple civics. They're not taught civics in school anymore.
A civic?
Yeah, civics, like
social studies.
I could name all the Supreme Court justices, and I can I know a lot of political stuff. I mean, I just don't like, but I respect other people, but they can believe and join whatever party they want to. I don't have any hatred towards them.
Shane.
Yep.
What's your do you have 3 branches of law over there?
3 branches of law.
For instance, ours is, well, judicial, executive, and legislative. That's 3 branches of government.
That's interesting. That is very interesting. I've never asked that question.
Well, is the Parliament? Do you have it like Britain? Is it like Britain then? The Parliament and the, I guess, is the court part of Parliament or what? I don't, like you say, I don't understand it either.
So we've got our Parliament. That's where all our laws are made, and the courts. So we've got Parliament. System? Pardon?
So Parliament is like your legislative and judicial branch are joined.
No, I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure. I'm gonna have to. I'm not 100% sure.
What he's saying is The president is part of the executive branch. He's the head law enforcement officer. He is also the military commander in chief. Now, if you take, we have what they call a Department of Justice, or they're part of the judicial branch, would be the Supreme Court, all the courts. And then what's the other executive, legislative? The legislative would be the Senate and the Congress.
Yes.
Yeah, no, we don't have that, I don't think.
And to break it down to states, that's our three forms of government. But the other part about civics is just, you know, knowing about our politics. Of course, we have Democrats, Republicans, and independents. We even have a Green Party. It's just that the Democrats and Republicans are more senior and have more following politically.
Yeah, no, we don't have nothing like that. It's very similar to Britain and the way Britain's set up. I'm not sure if our court system is connected to into our parliament. But
well, you all used to.
Apparently the most important person in our country is the Governor General. She is the Queen's messenger.
Right.
But next to that person is our Prime Minister, I'd say. Which he hasn't really even done much over the last 18 months. He hasn't really done anything. People have been pretty paid off with that, to be honest.
Maybe that Prime Minister's not even there.
Oh, he's in America at the moment, I think. Having
so
a meeting.
He was told.
So we're told,
that's a long meeting for 8 or 9 months.
No, I think he just went over there recently.
Kansas is a red state, and yet we have a blue governor. And I haven't heard from her ever since shortly after when supposedly 32 governors met at the Pentagon. So, maybe that part is true.
Well, I haven't understood America is why are the sheriffs higher than the why are the sheriffs in a higher position than the normal regular police?
It depends. If you're in a northern state, it's probably a police chief of Chicago would probably have more power than the sheriff. And then if you went down to Georgia or somewhere in the South, a sheriff would be very highly respected, be the highest law enforcement in that county.
They definitely knew what they're doing back in the days when they made all these laws and all these judicial branches and that.
Hey Shane.
Yeah, mate.
You got someone backstage, brother.
Do I?
Yeah, it's Sage.
Oh, we got a celebrity in the house. How do I do this?
Now we're gonna hear some hot info.
Now we're not going to be bored. Hang on, Sage.
Oh, you was bored?
Channel.
Dude, I'll jump off here. I'll go to bed.
No, I thought I was boring.
No. Riddle rocks. You shook me all night long. Can't believe you got hit on that. That's crazy.
Have I done it properly?
No, I was talking about Riddle. He played that song, I guess, and got a strike or something. They took the video down.
I hope I. Okay, how about now?
Ah, perfect.
Okay.
I can't believe how strong. I can't believe how strong social media has, those companies have become, where they can tell you what you can say on your channel, but you're on their platform. So they're actually doing publishing like a newspaper of what you can and cannot say. They're everything that we stood for. What do you call it? Where you can't see
Freedom of
that
rights.
things had to have certain, what do you call it? When you go to movies, how they classify them and stuff. But the things they determine you can't hear or are allowed to say, that's it goes against our whole premise, and we let them get away with it.
Yeah. Well, it started when they when they freaking did that to POTUS on Twitter when they banned him. So
one
what's up,
day
Sage?
we're gonna get our own platform that has our own. Maybe when AI comes about, we'll be able to have our own. Where it really will truly be, you can say whatever you want, you know.
Well, I don't understand YouTube's laws and why they let some people say certain things and other people say other things.
It's political. That's all it is.
Well,
They don't
MSM
want
is
the truth to
crooked,
get out.
and so when MSM is putting out nothing but horse pucky, so people turned to YouTube, and now they became the independent journalist.
It is a good platform, though.
Yeah.
Great platform.
What's up,
I
Sage?
just wish
Hey, so I jumped in here as backstage when you guys were talking about the sheriff thing. So at least how it works, you've got a local police department, like a town or whatever, and then that's their jurisdiction. And then you have a sheriff, and then the sheriff covers the county, and then you have a trooper, and the trooper covers the state. But the only true law enforcement officer that's constitutional is a sheriff. Everything else has been just kind of placed in by government positions. So that's why the sheriff is usually looked up so highly up, because technically they're one of the only ones that are constitutional law enforcement.
The only ones that Trump sheriffs are U.S. Marshals.
Yes,
Yep.
a marshal would be
As far as what would you say, federal, they can. I don't know who can. Used to, a county coroner could be the only one to arrest a sheriff or U.S. Marshal. Yeah. A deputy couldn't arrest his own sheriff. A deputy couldn't arrest his own sheriff, and the police chief couldn't arrest a sheriff. It's freaky.
Yeah, because it's based. That's kind of how they branch out. Like I said, you have a local, and then you have which is a city cop, and then you have a sheriff, which is county. But the thing is that another big reason that sheriffs are actually voted in, the actual sheriff is actually voted in by the people, and then and his deputies go kind of with him. Other law enforcements are hired, but the sheriff himself is actually voted in, and he can be voted out, which I feel that's the way it should be. But that's another big aspect of the sheriff, why that's usually somebody that they trust more, because that was usually voted in by your county.
You can really see it, and now Shane probably don't know this because he's in Australia, but in the United States, where your sheriff, they control the communication. So they tell, they'll have their call numbers. And then if you're a township inside a county, they tell you what frequencies you use as your badge numbers and stuff like that. but you actually come up under the communication part comes up under the sheriff, but it's designated to you, the city, to use the designation that the sheriff gives them. It's complicated.
Gotcha. Let me. I'm multitasking here. Hang on a second.
So, Sage, was you county or was you city?
No, I was Coast Guard. I was a federal law enforcement in the Coast Guard. So I was a boarding officer. So
really,
yeah. So technically, we would work with customs. But then what we would also do, because I was in Gloucester, Massachusetts. So a lot of times I could go out with the local Gloucester PD I would go out with their detectives and stuff, because with the Coast Guard, they did a lot of there was a lot of boats in the harbors and stuff, right? Where they need probably to board a boat.
Is the U.S. Coast Guard also in like Hawaii and Wake Island and places like that? U.S. territories?
Yes. Yep.
See, that's what I think American public, they don't realize when they say U.S. Coast Guard, it might be the Marianas Islands or whatever, but since they're a territory, they have Coast Guard there. That people don't understand. Halfway around the world, we have Coast Guard people.
Yeah, we have them in Guam. The Coast Guard also gets, let's say, you could also be deployed where a military vessel is to basically provide assistance to that military vessel. So when we were at war, I think in would be Iraq. I think when we were in Iraq and stuff like that, if there were ships over there, the Coast Guard would be there. Like the ones that actually drove in Normandy, the ones that actually brought the soldiers from the boats to the land was Coast Guard. Those were Coast Guard. Those were the yeah, so the Coast Guard basically runs, or with PD, with local law enforcement, they would need probable cause to get on a boat. I don't need probable cause to get on a boat. If you're a U.S. flagged boat, I can board your boat at any time. For safety type stuff, it's almost like a truck driver with DOT. He can just stop you. Well, the Coast Guard could just basically board any U.S. flagged vessel or any vessel, non-U.S. flagged vessel in international in our waters, which was 12 nautical miles. You can be boarded.
I think when I first started realizing the enormously important job, it happened to be watching the Bad Boys, where the Coast Guard was involved in that Miami operations and stuff, and it really woke me up to what the Coast Guard actually does.
Yeah, they do a lot. We did mostly search and rescue. We did some management, but we did mostly search and rescue where I was at. Miami and stuff like that would do more law enforcement, obviously. But when you're up in Boston, Massachusetts area, you did a lot of search and rescue. So we were a search and rescue station, small boat station.
Makes sense.
But
what were some of the people that you came across? What were the type of crimes, or some of the with the Coast Guard? It's not traditionally just crimes, is it?
No, we do a lot of we did a lot of fishery inspections. That's another thing that they fall under. They can do the fishery inspections or customs type stuff too. A lot of times a custom agent would come and they don't have as many people, so they would come and grab a couple Coast Guardmen to board boat to check, custom inspections. In ports, the Coast Guard will assist with customs to check boats, boating while intoxicated, taking on water, boat fires, drown. Somebody's, boats are missing. You go out searching for them. Stuff like that. When I was at the station, I did 4 years. I think we lost 3 people, 1 father and 2 kids. Not at the same time, but there was 2 kids that went out and they drowned. And then a father was scuba diving and he drowned. His tank stopped working. And then you're
is the Coast Guard older than the U.S. Navy, or the U.S. Navy older?
No, the Navy is definitely older. I don't know the year of the Navy. I'm trying to think back. But the Coast Guard was basically originally done to be honest, to collect taxes. As votes were coming in, the job of the Coast Guard was basically to board boats and enforce, pirates and stuff like that, basically to check boats and search the product that was on there. And then it turned into the Department of Transportation, and it became the Department of Homeland Security. And now it falls under the Department of Homeland Security, which gave the Coast Guard a lot more power to do other things with other law enforcement. But I wasn't the guy that just, to me, it was a couple things. Like, I wasn't the dick. You know what I mean? For me, when I boarded a boat and I'm on the boat and I've got everybody's tanked and there's not enough life jackets for the kids that are on the boat and all the adults are drunk, yeah, you're done. That would piss me off because I was there when 2 kids drowned. So that was one that you're not. Where's the life jackets for the kids? Oh, we don't have any. Okay, you're done. Tie them up. Put them on. We're taking your boat back. So besides that, I really wasn't out there, rocking people. That we're writing tickets and all that other stuff. But there were some. Then that would do that, and I'm like, okay. But it was usually the younger guys. You know what I mean? I went in at 28. Some of the younger ones that became boarding officers, those guys like to write tickets and everything else. And it was like, okay. What was he doing? Well, he didn't have the proper stickers. What? His registration stickers weren't in the right spot. Oh, okay. For me, it was more.
I think Trump was very supportive of the Coast Guard, especially with the people coming up from South America or Mexico, and they're trying to get around our local border things by going out to sea. And I think President Trump gave the Coast Guard a mandate to be more vigilant for the coastal areas farther up the coast for illegal immigration.
Yeah, because what the issue was, and I don't know how it is, now, but once they step on land, they have yes. And not a real U.S. citizen, but they get the rights of a U.S. citizen once they step on land. So there have been times that you better be swooping in there and snagging him before he gets on land, because besides that, he has rights. So, or she, whoever.
Just like what was the governor of Florida when DeSantis said about the cruise ship that had foreign people on it. He wanted to make sure there was proper deboarding of those people. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's the stuff that for me I get. It's like, okay, it's still being Coast Guard. It's frustrating because to me, there should be a process to get in, right? It's common sense in my opinion that. We're fleeing from Haiti. Well, you just went through a couple other countries. Why didn't you stop there? You know what I mean? Right. So and you're supposed to go to the next country to seek refuge, not not 4 countries and I'm going to stop here. This one's the best. No. Wait a minute. What?
They've got high wages.
It's like the first move on the chessboard. The first move on the chessboard, when you move that first pawn, you can jump 2 spaces. Okay. It's not that way in real life. You're supposed to go to the country, like you said, borders you or closest to you.
Right. And so that was always a frustration part. But besides that, I don't know. It's I don't write the laws. I just had to enforce the laws that they were told me to enforce. Okay.
What would happen if you decided not to enforce the laws that your supervisor has asked you to enforce?
Yeah, there would be what's called a captain's mast, and that's an internal punishment type thing where the captain of your station comes in and makes the decision on your punishment, and then of course it goes up from there.
So with the circumstances, like in Melbourne, there's the police are they're being pretty full on with their laws. They're being overly aggressive. If that police officer wasn't to enforce the laws, there'd be repercussions for him not wanting to, write the fine or.
Yeah, and it's a difficult situation because I don't know how it works in Australia, but here we all take that oath to protect the Constitution. So
Yeah.
I can't be told to do something that's unconstitutional here. Okay, I said I don't know how it works there, but so at that point, he wants to, but then at some point, I have the right to hire an attorney. Like I can actually get a JAG attorney and say, well, JAG, I'm going to fight this one because this was unconstitutional. I can't do this one. So I can't fight that here, but I don't know if it's an unconstitutional rule, obviously. But there has to be something that says, okay, I can't do that because that's against the law. You know what I mean? But if there's something that says I can, it's a lawyer battle. And law enforcement is just enforcing the laws that they believe to be right. Right? It's a judge and a lawyer who actually determine if that was actually correct, to be honest. So if that mandate comes down for an executive order or however you want to say it, and they say, go out and do this, well, that's now my new standing order that they want me to do. But again, I have the right to say, well, I don't think this is right. I should consult an attorney and find out if I can do this. But
what they've been doing in Melbourne with a lot of the protesters is the police will charge them with a stupid crime, and then they'll have restrictions put on them. So the moment they break them restrictions for this stupid crime, they get thrown in jail because they've broken the restrictions for this stupid crime. So they clog the courts up by doing that as well.
I mean, some of the things, like my buddy was a trooper, and some of the stuff that if he wants to be a dick, I mean, and you throw a cigarette butt out the window before he walks up to the car, he could get you for littering. You know what I mean? If you really want to be, unfortunately, there are some stupid crimes that you can technically write people up for. Technically. Are they used a lot? No. And that's where it's that fine line, because now you have again, I don't know how your police officers work. I don't know. They must take some oath, but they're doing what they need to be doing to get paid in their eyes, because they got to feed their family, right?
Yeah.
So it turns into that situation that, well, if I don't do this, I could be put on leave or not get paid. What do I do? It's kind of squeezing people into doing things that they also now have to do, because if they don't, they won't eat.
Exactly.
And,
becomes like an emotional abuse.
Correct. So it's trying to figure out how to manage that as a police officer in your situation is probably extremely difficult, because it's like, Jesus, I got to eat. You got to eat. How do we do this? And I'm just saying, they're looking at it as, well, if I don't do this, I'm not going to eat. But all you have to do is stay home and we can both eat. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know if you're being paid. How are you guys working if you stay home? Are the government paying you?
I'm a subcontractor, so I don't get paid. If I don't work, I don't get paid. I could probably apply for something, but yeah, I haven't done it.
So how are you?
As a civilian, to understand your plight, I can tell you this. I was a paramedic, and we had protocols. And, of course, I came up under a doctor's jurisdiction who was my medical director. But it's like where you see people who do life-saving measures, and there's Good Samaritan laws where if you cross the line with like your military training, there's like some what do you call it? laws that can protect you because you receive military training in that jurisdiction. You couldn't do it, but you see someone save someone's life. The only problem I had was if let's say you did the thing with the to put a breathing tube in someone's neck, and then when that child and that was a child you did that to, and then when that child gets 18 or 19 year old, then they can chase like she can, or the boy can chase you through the court system. They can sue you for maiming them. I mean, come on, it's there's got to be some common sense that but like you said, it's got all out of whack. It's just like President Obama. All the stuff that he did that was crooked, he got away with. And Trump, they wouldn't let him do anything cross. They, with executive orders and stuff like that. I see your plight and I understand it.
No, yeah, and and that was the same thing. I think my mom was a DMT or paramedic. I can't remember which one, but there were times that technically, if she performed CPR on someone, and kids were tough to do CPR on because the way you're doing, sometimes you break a rib. Right. Right. If my mom performed CPR on somebody and broke a rib but saved the kid, she could be sued for the rib break.
That's crazy, isn't it?
What?
Well,
okay.
Well, no, I mean, probably not in that situation, but like where the person gets a little scar on their throat from when someone put a pin into their trachea that was blocked by, let's say, a hot dog or something. The windpipe was cut. But you could go below that and go into the trachea and put a hole there for them to breathe through. And then, like, when they become of age and because they got scarred and they're going to try and sue you, that, you got to take into account, too, that probably wouldn't fly in 75 or 80% jurisdictions in the country. That would... You just be lucky you're alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would probably be the answer. But like you got California, and you know how crazy California laws and stuff are there. Everybody tries it in California first to get away with it, and then the rest of the country follows suit, or not. Alabama might be the exact total political opposite of California.
Right. And I find that's the other thing that I find extremely upsetting is because so many of the stuff is it's like shall not infringe. That's a pretty simple statement, right? Shall not infringe. That word right there is there for a specific reason. To me, it's quite simple. You can't infringe. If I want to drive, if I can afford one, and I know how to drive one, if I want a bazooka or a tank, shit cannot infringe. There was no limit what I can hear, at least, to what I can.
Like have. When you're a Coast Guard person, and let's just say I went salmon fishing. Let's just say somewhere up north.
Right.
But I'm from North Carolina, so I happened to stop near Gloucester, and I didn't have a particular thing on my boat, stickers or whatever it was. And let's say I saw a lake nearby or something. I couldn't put my boat in that lake because I don't have the proper stickers or insurance or whatever it is. But if I did that, you would be able to enforce that law in your jurisdiction of Gloucester, where if it might be another Chesapeake area that you don't have a jurisdiction in, while Coast Guard's got jurisdiction in Chesapeake. I was just trying to think of if you were in Nova Scotia visiting, you couldn't do a law That's not even right.
It's tough with
If
the
you're
coast.
at New York, if you're at the New York Harbor, well, that's a
So-
Coast Guard thing too, probably.
So it's like a state
I don't
trooper.
know.
State trooper has up to 3 miles of water because that's state water is 3 miles. So a state trooper
Okay.
could do North Carolina state trooper could technically write you a ticket on your boat if
Right.
you're, but he can't cross into South Carolina
Right.
and write you your ticket.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Where if you're anywhere inside the water or a U.S. flag, you could be a U.S. flag vessel sitting in the harbor of Australia, and I could board you as long as you're a U.S. flag vessel with the Coast Guard. Now, I can't board an Australian boat unless they're in my water, but a U.S. flag vessel. That's why the flags are important. What you're flagged,
What you display, yeah.
right? Because that's who can board you.
Yeah, I didn't realize how important them flags were. How many is there?
Oh, there's a lot, and that's I didn't even know them all. I was an engineer, so I was you have a coxswain who drives the boat, and then you have an engineer that runs the deck. So when we go out, I ran the deck. So if there's other people there and we had to throw lines or I had to jump on another boat or something, I would run the bottom deck where the coxswain drove the boat. His job was to know all the flags. He had to know he had to do the search patterns. He had to know the flags. He had to be, I didn't do that. That was no, thank you. I'd rather be jumping on the other boat trying to stop the water from coming in rather than trying to figure out a flag. That's just me. So
when I actually learned about that was when Bruce Willis that played that movie The Jackal, where he was a European like hitman, and he was hired to do a hit into the United States, where he went to Canada and crossed over in our waters, but he posted a U.S. flag on his vessel so he wouldn't be stopped.
right.
In our waters, and I don't even know what country he was coming from, but I mean, that's when I kind of that makes sense, where he wouldn't get caught or he wouldn't be stopped by a U.S. Coast Guard person or
Right, because if I see a U.S. vessel, there's so many U.S. vessels. But if I see a Canadian vessel in my water, we're probably going to board that first because that's you're
exactly.
not. So he could have got boarded, but it was more likely he would have been boarded as a foreign.
Flip of the coin.
Right.
If he weren't, if he, like you said, the young officer, the young new guy that has those credentials, like you say, he might test the waters where you would be more
correct. Yeah.
You would use your ability. It might be need investigating, but not to step in it because that might be a very important person you're going to mess with.
Right.
You're going to use your noodle where the young and the one that's really into it, he's going to just jump in, and then he lands in the smelly stuff. He might get embarrassed,
Yeah, and not to be completely off topic, but it's going to be. Anne Marie Kimball. How long have you been vegan? Me and my wife have actually been vegan for 16 years. So I saw she put something in there that she says being vegan, she misses steak. But yeah, and that's just for me. It's just us. It's just it's funny too. Is what again being off topic is I used to get acid reflux like every single day, and then I stopped doing meat. It was a suggestion, and never got acid reflux again. Kill me. And I was fine too because growing up I was fine, and then I think the issue is the crap that they started putting in the meat. Whatever that crap was that they started putting, all the hormones and all this other crap. I don't know. I just got worse and worse as I started to get older. But when I was like 20, I don't remember it. And then you start turning 21, 25 and all the crap back then. I'm 45 now. kind of sorry to be off topic there, but I just thought of that.
We don't really have a topic, Sage.
I don't know how they treat your crap, but with the meats and stuff like that. But here they put a ton of crap in the meat here.
I know they do put this spray on it to make it appear more red.
Do they? Yeah.
But apparently that's a carcinogen that they put on it.
You're gonna mess with everything.
Hang on, I'm dropping out.
What's that?
All right.
Do we lose signal?
A common misconception about things was, when you go into and you order steak rare, medium rare, and all that, and they say, "Oh, it's bloody red." That red chemical, that's a protein. Has nothing to do with blood. That's not blood. That's a protein chemical thing. You can look it up. It's not real. It's not blood whatsoever. If you actually put blood, it would upset your stomach. Really. That meat is non-bloody. The meat you buy in the store is non-bloody. I mean, everybody would be sick all the time because you can't consume blood of animals or humans. I mean, you can't do that. Your body would reject that. So where someone's saying they're getting a blood red steak, it's not having any blood in it. Those are proteins or whatever. It's just that the other chemicals are what you're saying, that the enzymes and stuff like that, and like you said, the hormones, the enzymes, and whatever other crap they put in there is killing us.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. And a lot of hormones they're putting in there so that the animals grow faster, quicker, so they can get them out to market quicker. But the problem is that there's no way that doesn't affect me eating that.
I used to jokingly say when I would eat them little chicken legs, and you go in there and you order a chicken, and they give you a real small leg. I said, man, they killed this chicken when he was a teenager. Jokingly. I mean, because it was such a small chicken leg, it wasn't a big one like you would expect. It would be like a little drumette of a wing, and you're expecting a chicken leg, and it's like, like I said, we used to joke around and say, hey, they killed that chicken when he was a teenager.
Yeah.
Just jokingly.
We get small chickens here too. Smaller than what they used to be.
So how is when's your lockdown? And I might have missed this earlier in the conversation because I showed up late. But when is your lockdown ending?
Seems like it's been gone forever. I think it ends on October 21. So it was meant to end on the 4th of September. Then they extended it, and then they extended it, and then they extended it. So I'm hoping to be out of lockdown by October 21. So another month, I think.
Are they giving a reason for the continued lockdown? I mean, are they saying our numbers are here? I mean, are they just saying, nope, we're locking down again?
Well, we don't even have high numbers. We have a population. So in my state, we have a population of 7 million people, and we've probably got less than 900 deaths in 18 months.
Yeah, see, that's interesting.
Deaths in Victoria. I'll look it up right now. So they don't actually tell us. All they tell us is cases. So right now we've got 628 cases, and we're locked down.
Yeah, so they're past giving the deaths because
Well, there's no one really dying,
That's a problem. We can't use that number. Good.
Sorry to say. I mean, I don't it would be understandable if there was people passing away. You'd say, all right, we're obviously in a desperate situation. We need to do whatever it takes to get out of this situation.
Yeah. When they're finding bodies in houses because, the whole family, passed away and like they did the Black Plague. Problem.
Yeah. But it's not happening.
Yeah. So I was just wondering what they're giving you for the reason for the continued lockdown is. Because how is this? You're all locked down and no one's working?
It's apparent the reason is behind the transmissions, just about the cases.
Yeah, and who's allowed to work? Is anyone?
So they've just banned the construction workers from working.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if that's with pay or without. A lot of the business that was in Central, so all the buildings that were in the central heart of Melbourne, they're doing work at home. They're recommending anyone that does work anyone that should be able to do work at home should do work at home.
I don't like where it depends on whether your governor has an R or D of how much you have to suffer.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
not suffer. It really, they could be more uniform about that.
What about your mines? The mines that you guys have, like the iron ore and stuff like that. Are they producing or are they?
I'm not sure. We can have a look. Mines, iron ore.
Oh, hang on, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about the mines. I'll have to look into that for you, Sage.
Yeah, because I just know that I'm just trying to figure out why you guys are shut down as much as you guys are. Because Ireland is obviously another one. Brazil, because they're rioting.
Well, they're blaming it on the transmissions. Oh, we've got 600 transmissions yesterday, and we've got 500 the day before, and we've got.
Yeah, but if no one's dying, that's actually called herd immunity, and it's actually what benefits us as humans. That's why I'm confused on. Well, we can't transmit it. No, you're supposed to transmit it. You're just not. We hope you don't die from it. But we need. And this when I explain this, it's like I went to boot camp. Right, I'm from Buffalo, New York. I went to boot camp. They had people from all over the country stacked 3 beds high in the same room. Right. We all got sick. Because I got people from California who got stuff I've never had. They've got stuff, I have germs from stuff that they never had. So we all get sick. But we all get, none of us die. We get through it. And now I have, the antibodies from whatever the person in California gave me or wherever they came from, right? Yep. So that's kind of how it just happens. That just happens. We are constantly transmitting things to each other all the time. Now, we might, because we're always around each other, we might already have the antibodies that we don't get sick. But when you deal with people, a lot of different people from a different area that you don't have those antibodies, we get sick. So
but you need germs. You need germs in your body. That's what helps your immune system.
Right. So that's why I'm trying to. I mean, there's no science that says, well, you can't transmit the flu or a cold or whatever. That's just how it works. Chicken pox. I got the chicken pox when I was a kid. Somebody gave it to me. I probably gave it to somebody else, but I got through it, and now I can't get the chicken pox anymore, right?
Yeah.
So that's why with transmission, but that's kind of what you eventually want. And I think the problem is that it was originally designed to not to stop the transmission of this, because you can't. You cannot stop the transmission of it. It can be in Coke, it can be on a chair, it can be anywhere. The lockdowns were so that the medicals didn't get overwhelmed, because you didn't want so many people sick at the one time. You wanted a gradual sickness, right? Because you wanted that herd immunity. And that's why people like Sweden and I think the Netherlands are open fully. But that's why I'm just kind of trying to see what your actual death rate is and your hospital rate, because transmissions is going to happen. There's no way you can stop that.
Well,
No way.
we've only had
Again, the media took the media and academia, or they're like it's a real pandemic. It's really not a real pandemic if you think about it. Or we just been scared into it.
Well, it is technically, but the level of pandemic
Right.
is, you know what I'm saying? Like the flu, it was a pandemic, right? But it's the flu. It is because it's a new one that nobody's going to have. No one's going to have antibodies
We're
for.
panicking. We're
Right.
panicking.
But stay healthy, take vitamins, whatever. And if you feel sick, go to the hospital. We'll get through this, is how it should have been explained. But
Right.
no one has antibodies for this. So you're probably going to get sick. So do what precautions you feel necessary to try to prevent you from getting sick. That's my choice at that point. That's all the government had to basically say is, hey, this is a pandemic because it's man-made, but they're not going to say that. It's a new virus that very few, if any, has antibodies. So that technically was going to fall under a pandemic. But it's not going to be something that should be raging out of control. But be made aware that you're going to probably get sick. You're probably going to get this. Now, when you get it, it's not. I had it. It's rough, but I've been sick like that before. You know what I mean? So, but it's rough to get it, or at least when I got it. For me, it was. Some people get.
I myself, like February of 2020, right when it started. I had some shortness of breath, coughing, and couldn't catch my breath. And it lasted about 2 or 3 days. I had a little bit of fever, like the regular flu or whatever. And I figured I must have just got over it. But I never went to go get tested, and I'm not going to take a vaccine. I think I'm okay. I think, I don't.
I didn't get tested.
I just happened to catch it early, right when it started. So why take the chance? I'm 60 years old now.
Right.
I turned 60 years old April 1st of this year. So I was born in 1961, and I'm 60 this year. I mean, why do I need to take a vaccine or chance? Why do I need to go get tested? I mean, I'm using my own common sense. I mean,
right.
Now, and I don't do a lot of interacting with people. So, that's just the way it is.
Right. And my thing too is that where I get confused is a couple things. The first thing I get confused about is, okay, I've had it. I wasn't tested, but I've had all the symptoms, right? So I've had it.
Right. Just like I did.
In fact, and I'm still a little, even having it over a year and a half ago, it's still affected. Like now I have allergies. Like I've never had allergies before. Like I could be out in pollen and never got allergies. Now I do ever since that. Okay, whatever it did. My issue is if you've had it, you have antibodies because that's what a vaccine is. Okay, that's what the vaccine is. My issue is that before you tell me to get a shot, why don't you test me and see if I have antibodies? Because you're going to give me those with your shot. Like, so if I have them, I don't need your shot, do I? And that's why, in my opinion, if I don't want it, I should just say, hey, test me for antibodies, see if I've already had it. Because I'll have antibodies. Unless it's, obviously something that's specifically designed to not allow you to have antibodies. Guess what? Vaccine won't work either then. But then I should have antibodies. And nobody's getting tested for that. Nobody's saying, I haven't met anybody that says, hey, before you give me that shot, I want to be tested for antibodies first. And
now they're saying, well, the first two didn't work. We're going to have boosters.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Is that, and this is what I talk about on my show. The funny thing about that is the WHO saying, no, we don't need boosters. but it's the administration that's saying yes, 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 we do, and that's where I believe it's more about pharmaceutical dominance and trying to sell these vaccines and stay important to the world as a pharmaceutical global power than it really is curing
I think
anything.
it's just a roll of the dice.
That's why I find that interesting. But I was just trying to figure out why, because you guys are in a lockdown and freaking out over there. And it's like, what are your actual lockdown procedures? You have to stay in the house, technically?
Technically, you got to stay in the house. You can go out for an hour to the
A week?
park, an hour a day to the park, and an hour to go to the shop. So 2 hours in total. And then you've got your curfew that starts at 9 p.m.
It sounds almost like the same as if you were bad in jail and they put you into, what's it called?
Oh, it's terrible.
They only allowed an hour a day for exercise, too.
Yeah.
Right? What's that called when you're bad and when you're in prison and they throw you?
What is that word?
Are they uniform with the territories of Australia?
Pardon?
The territories of Australia? Do y'all have like states or territories or what?
So we've got states. We've got territories. So we've got the Northern Territory and we've got the ACT. So the ACT is the capital of Australia.
Are the
And then
laws uniform?
we've got 7 states.
Are they uniform in all the? Is it the same as Sydney as in somewhere else?
No, it's different. We all have our different jurisdictions of uniform.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm just pulling some stuff up.
No. Yeah, just use that. Yeah. I'm on a stream. Oh, sorry. I thought I muted myself.
You're not muted.
My son came into the room and wanted some sticky tape.
Accidentally cut my finger.
All right.
I was trying to cut an apple.
I'll come out shortly and have a look, all right? Oh, diesel.
I've been actually trying to find your stream, but I'm new to all this computer stuff, Sage.
Oh, can you mod me?
Yep.
I can put a link in it again.
I don't
Where
even know
are
how
you,
to do. I don't even know how to do all that. You know.
Oh, then when you go to YouTube, you can probably just type in Sage News. I should pop up.
What does your like icon look like or whatever?
It's got a flag with the Monkey King on it.
The frog.
There you go, Sage.
Yeah. I can put.
It's a green looking thing.
Yeah, it's green writing that says Sage on it. So it's got a flag, and then it's got the Monkey King, which is a little sarcastic statement towards China, and then it's got a green writing that says Sage on it.
I'll look for
it. Earlier, and Nikki.
Enough. Yeah, and you should just be able to type Sage News. It should pop up. But I can, just in case later you come back to this one, I can throw that in there.
Sage is really good. Sage is doing a lot of work on the Belt Road project.
Yeah, kind of the global thing. But
sorry, Sage, what was that?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, my sting started. Go ahead.
That's all right. Yeah, Davey, Sage does a lot of, he's got his own channel and he does a lot of work on the Belt Road project, the initiative.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on that trail at the moment.
Oh, okay.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, and then I do Rage. I don't know if you watch Rage. Me and Rage do a show like we did last night. We did one that was pretty interesting. I don't know if you caught that one. Did you see that one?
No, I'll definitely have to watch it straight after.
Some information. I'll give you the gist of it.
Yep.
Rage brought in an audio about a politician, ex-politician, an older guy that still has contacts with the UN and still has friends that are politicians. So another guy, he was talking to another guy, and he said a couple things. So the first thing that he said was, one, the election in Canada was crap. It was just, the same way the U.S. was just crap, all made up.
Okay.
And then he said in 2018, he was told about a pandemic that was going to come out in 2020. And then he also said that the UN was flying, and I verified some of this on the show while we were going. He said that an airport in Newfoundland was sold, and they were flying UN people to this airport. And then he said that the lockdowns that we haven't even seen the type of lockdowns that we're about to get, and it's going to get a lot worse. So, and I referenced back in regards to what I did was because he said in 2018 he was told that, and a lot of the stuff that one of my videos I did, I went through the timeline of the pandemic, and I kind of referenced a couple things. So in 2013, China came out with the Belt Road Initiative, basically looking to take control of the world with it, right? And then from there, in 2015, a lot of things happened for China. One of the things that happened for China is they started their own World Bank called the AIIB, the Asian International Infrastructure Bank, and that's going to compete with the U.S. dollar. Now, every time the U.S. dollar, anybody has tried to knock out the petrodollar, we've toppled their regime. Libya, Iraq, anytime that they try to take out our dollar, we go in there. So now China is starting to go after our dollar with their World Bank. So also in 2015, China put in a bid to host the military games in Wuhan. So in 2017, they won the bid. They won the bid to take it in 2019. So they are gonna host the World Military Games in 2019. After that, there's some other stuff I'm kind of giving you gist. After that, let me go back. So real quick, France and China started to work together to build the Wuhan lab. Okay, in 2015, China, they finished it. They were trained by the French, and in 2015, China tossed the French out. They said, "Get out! It's our lab now." 2015, they were also given U.S. money to try to find a virus to make from animals to humans. We gave them $666,000 plus some change. Kind of a weird number. That was given by the Fauci's department to do this. And then 2015, they came out with the World Bank. They also came out for the bid. So now they're getting money from the U.S. government for this project to produce this. In 2017, they win the bid. In 2019, on October 18th, 2019, two things happen. The first thing that happens is the World Games, the military World Games in Wuhan starts, which they've already said that was the perfect super spreader. That event was the perfect super spreader. Okay. The other thing that happened on the exact same date was something called Event 201. Event 201 was hosted in New York City with businessmen, government, and health officials on what to do if there was a pandemic. Sponsored by Bill Gates. Well, not sponsored by, but helped promote this and finance this event. So they basically went through exactly what to do for a world pandemic on the exact day of the military games, which everyone has said it was the best super spreader to make this thing spread. Now, that coincides with him knowing in 2018 that something was coming because they won the bid for the games in 2017. So if since they won that bid in 2017 for these World Games in Wuhan, it's decent to say it's a possibility by 2018 somebody knew that they were going to release this. Now, I then go in to talk about the airport, and this guy said that the airport was sold. I confirmed that it was sold. It was sold to like a private paramilitary contractor. They do a whole bunch of stuff like that, and I put links in the video. And it was sold. We could not confirm that there was planes coming in because we couldn't pull them up. So, and I don't know, how often they're flying or what time they're flying. They could be flying now. You know what I mean? We wouldn't see them. But what else was interesting is, as I even talk about, is okay, what's the downside if right now we have China building the Belt Road Initiative. They're trying to take over our dollar. They're trying to be world dominant and take everything over. The only way to
have you colluded with Monkey Works?
Have I contacted him?
Yeah.
No, I have not yet. No, I have not.
Well, I mean, he's been pretty much up on military flights and stuff like that.
Right. And all this just happened yesterday. So I haven't even gotten, in touch with, this was last night at like 8 o'clock at night. I think we were doing the show, or 7 o'clock or whatever. Sure. I think whatever. So what else I went over is a couple things. So China was they are outpacing us in technology. They're outpacing us by buying everybody's ports. They bought Greece's port. They have a port in Israel. They own, they're expanding into different countries. They're talking to Nigeria they got an oil deal with Nigeria and Saudi Arabia. So they're jumping way ahead of us in regards to controlling this. So if you think about are you thinking they're
weaponized it? Is that what you're getting at?
I actually think that we released it. I think we released it, to be honest, in my opinion, because I believe we released it to shut China's growth down, because right now China is suffering. They can't go into other countries.
Oops.
Right. They can't go into other countries. Australia's on lockdown, so they can't get iron ore from Australia. So they can't build their products, which is causing Evergrande to collapse because they can't make steel. They can't go into other countries and build their trains and stuff like that because other countries are like, hey, well, you can't come in right now. China was building things, and then they would go to a country and say, hey, you just pay us back and we'll build it. Well, right now, some of these countries are coming saying, hey, we can't afford to pay you back. Can we waive this fee for a year? So China is taking a brutal hit from this COVID. And then I said, okay, well, if that's the downside for them, what's the upside for us? Well, the upside now, don't look at this as the people, but look at this as government and rich, right? The 1%ers.
Right.
For 2 months we were down, so the stock market came down. So if you buy low and sell high, so the minute that stock market went down, they probably bought into the stock market, which forced the stock market way up, which it did go way up. So you've got a 3-month slowdown, but right now you've got pharmaceutical companies which are booming in money. You've got businesses which are booming in money because, essential goods and making this all go. These guys are still getting rich because they control everything in regards to that. You have
well, how is that now, you being a Coast Guard, how about the people where they're saying the ships are off the coast of Port of Los Angeles and I guess up around Seattle area or places like that? You being a Coast Guard person, is that really true? What's going on?
Yeah, and I cover that. If you find my channel, I actually cover that. I do the Marine Report, so I go over all those ships. And what's actually happening is China knows that we are trying to strangle them with keeping. So as long as we keep COVID alive, China goes broke. Okay, if lifted, they can start running again, and everything's booming. So China is fighting back by doing a couple things. One of the things they're doing is slowing our logistics. So instead of sending full containers, they'll send half containers. So now it takes 2 containers to complete an order. The other thing they do is they'll shut down their port and create a backlog and then send 80 ships at once, which causes us not to be able to get the ships unloaded, which puts a strain on our logistics. Because I'm a freight broker now, so I do logistics. So I look at everything through the eyes of logistics. So, which is causing our logistics to be backed up and trucking prices to be all-time high, which is causing inflation and doing a bunch of issues with our goods. So as we squeeze them, they're squeezing us. We're actually at war with China, in my opinion. Truly at war. We were at war with a trade war, but now it's gone to another stage. But if the government were to come out and say, "Hey, we're at war with China," holy crap, you would see panic. I mean, everybody would panic buy. It would be chaos because we all know how important China is to us. Like, truly important for goods.
Just like I don't think the American public was really they didn't realize how much of a good thing probably President Trump was by being a businessman. He understands business tactics where our past presidents weren't that astute in global economics and stuff.
Correct.
Well, he would be. You're right. So I think he's the wild card that they don't expect, even the other countries.
Correct. Because China doesn't look at themselves as a country. They look at themselves as an Amazon with a military. That's if you want to understand, they're an Amazon with a military. It's all about business, and business can be cutthroat, and they are cutthroat, literally cutthroat.
Well, the thing is you got 3,000 politicians over there controlling 1.3 billion people, which if each one of them had if every one of them 3,000 had 6 surrogate or thing, you're still only saying 18 to 30,000 people controlling 1.3 billion people. The populace just don't realize they could overrun their. I mean, if 1.2 billion people went berserk, they could, they could do a lot of damage.
Right.
But they rule by fear.
Right. And I think it's a lot of things too, and we say the same thing here. It's like it's very difficult because I think, and I had this conversation, is a lot of people think that, okay, Trump's going to come in and everything's going to be, switched over, and he's going to come in riding a Jeep like General Patton, and the military is all following. We have to understand is that if China were to think about this, and I bring this, let's say North Korea. If we found, because remember, North Korea, we're a nuclear country. North Korea is a nuclear country. If the world found out that North Korea was now in a revolution, a chaos revolution, and we don't know what's going to happen, I can guarantee you every country would be sending military craft to be on their borders, because it's a nuclear country, which means that if they could end up just nuking. He could be at the last minute. He could say, "Hey, I'm going to lose this. I'm going to shoot my nukes," and that's not what people want to happen. So and that's the thing, that if we were to have a civil war or revolution in this country, in America, I'm telling you right now, every country would be on our border because we're a nuclear country, which means that if chaos ensues and somebody gets the football codes and can launch these nukes, the world's going to end. No other country is going to let that happen. We're not, they're not going to look at that and say, they're just it's a revolution or it's a coup in some non-small African town or small Middle Eastern town. A coup here is going to be a serious problem because we are a nuclear country. And I don't think
I don't believe people realize, like, where North Korea only has like 30 nukes. And
correct.
we have 6,100 nukes, but Russia has, or they have 6,500 nukes. I don't know how many China has. I think they have like 3,000 or something nukes.
Right. So anytime you
But it only takes a few nukes to mess us all up.
Right. Even if you have 30 and we found out that there was a coup or there was a revolution or a civil war in a nuclear country, I'm telling you, every country would be activated to handle that situation and that's where even here, I don't think people realize that it's not something that, you can just have a coup or just have a revolution or whatever. They're coming in. UN is going to come in. They're going to send other countries because, like I said, wrong person gets that football. You don't know what that person's going to do. Or if the person holding the football, the nuclear football today, is about to get hung and convicted of treason and killed, you don't know if they're going to launch. Just because, hey, if I can't have it, nobody's getting it. So it's a very touchy situation. But I don't think people, think about, because everybody's like, well, Trump's going to come in and this person's going to be arrested and this person's going to be put to death. And I'm like, well, you have a coup like that. You don't want to know how quickly other countries are going to be at our doorstep to make sure we don't launch 6,000 nuclear missiles.
The thing I'm glad about is the redundancy of when we launch, if we were to launch a thing that not like one man could do it. It takes several to do it, for all the pieces to work. And if you're missing one of those pieces, that
right.
That's an extra bonus.
Right. And the same thing, and I use North Korea because you don't know there, right? And you don't know
we just don't know their politics. We don't know their.
So it's just one of those things that it's like, okay, everybody would be at their doorstep because, and we would probably be going in just to make sure that those missiles, whatever they did have, did not get launched. So when you're a nuclear country, there's a different, compared to a non-one, you can have this type of stuff. But if it really gets bad, the world's not going to let a revolution and anybody just take power here, not knowing what the results of that power taking is going to be. And we can't live on our own. We need other things. So this is where it's one of those, because I do hear a lot of people that are, go into, this guy's going to get arrested, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, there's going to be a coup and the whole thing's going to switch. Well, it's a fine line between chaos and the other countries saying, okay, we don't know what U.S. is going to do. We better go in there and handle this, which, we do this all the time. So that's just something people need to think about, in my opinion.
Well, I was never in the military. I did 30 years as a paramedic. And my father, career military, he just passed away. He was 85 years old. He just passed away a couple months ago.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
It was really sad. I mean, like for the last year of his life, he was under that lockdown. And then whenever they said, he was at a nursing facility. And the last 2 weeks of his life, finally they were, if you went to visit, you would have to talk to him through like a screen and a window.
Yeah.
It was really stupid. But anyway, when they ended it and you could go visit, I didn't have transportation, and I tried to get transportation up there. The day I got to visit my dad was the day he passed away, and I think he actually got the Jaworski 2 weeks prior to that when they opened up the thing. I think it contributed. But the other thing was, when he was in the military, he was a not really high ranking. He was the non-commissioned officer. He was one of the higher non-commissioned officers, NCOs. So my oldest brother went into the military. My younger brother went into the Marine Corps. Now I did locally as a paramedic, so in our county. But the thing was, in 1965, before he went to Vietnam for the second and final time, we went. We were. He got stationed in Germany, and we actually went there. And I didn't realize that it was in 1965. And then I didn't find out until just like a couple of months ago that he was part of building the missile silos for Germany. Well, they were U.S. missile silos in Germany under the NATO thing or whatever. But I didn't realize him being an engineer that's what he was doing. He was building those missile silos in 1965. You know, it's kind of freaky, you know. But I found that out just a couple months ago. Because you don't know what your dad did, you know. It's all secret, you know.
Right.
But I know his job was, and that's about the time they built that missile silos in the particular town in Germany he was. And I know where we were in 1965 when those were built. And what his job was. Now, me personally, like I said, I was a paramedic. But the thing is, 8 years ago, I was at work and I had a stroke. And I went into the hospital and I had found out 3 or 4 days later I had cancer. So they gave me the chemo and the radiation. Well, that didn't help my brain out by having a stroke. It didn't affect my right or left thing, but it did affect my brain, my thinking, and a lot of balance things, you know, my balance and stuff.
Yeah.
But I do have right and left movement. It didn't affect my right or left, but it did affect, they within a year, they medically retired me. And so when I did get back a year and a half ago, when I did get when I think I got the COVID, the C-19 symptoms, I believe, like I said, I'm not going to just take the chance of taking Jabarowski or the testing for it. I don't care. I mean, the good Lord's going to take me when He's ready. But I will, if I go somewhere, I will wear the mask, do whatever they ask. But you know, out of respect, and like I say, you can. Personally, I don't force my beliefs on you. You can't force your beliefs on me. But hey, we can have a conversation without getting mad at each other. And we're all learning all the time. You know, I'm sad that some of the people just don't. I'm glad for the wisdom the Lord has allowed me to have to be able to like communicate with you.
Right.
And even if you told me I was, you thought I was Hasty, Huckleberry Finn, you didn't care what I said. As long as you didn't personally attack me, like you're going to come and kill me or you're threatening me, you know, we can have a great conversation, and you can tell me you worship Satan and you think he's the, whatever. I'm not going to hate you, but you know, I like you say, we have a wisdom to. Don't take offense, and now personal attack is different. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah, personal attacks are sad that people do that. You know, it's just crazy.
Yeah, I don't believe in personally attacking people. I'd rather just converse with one another and learn from it.
I think we had a similar conversation before Sage joined us. So
Yeah. And like I said, I just give, and then I give a lot of links to what I'm seeing so that you can see if you see the same thing. And I understand, like I said, I'm not, I could be wrong.
I definitely-
respect everything. I respect everything you said. And like you say, I'll check it out. I'm glad for the information. All of us should be glad for the
Sage is a
information.
wealth of knowledge. Sage is excellent. A wealth of knowledge. I definitely think you're onto something there, Sage.
He's like Monkey Works of the Sea.
Pretty much.
I didn't even think about that perspective. Monkey Works is the military and flight, and he handles the maritime information. That's great. That helps us all out.
Well, Sage focuses on the trucking industry and the freight industry.
Right. That's great.
You've definitely gave me a lot of different perspectives, especially on what's going on right now. It definitely makes sense what you're saying, Sage.
Yeah, and I just see it, like I said, because we're at a trade war. That's 100%. Trump said trade war. I mean, we all say trade war. Well, a war is a war is a war. If you're in a war, you're in some type of battle with somebody, right?
Like they used to have the Cold War. Like you said, we've moved from like a Cold War with China to like more like an informational war.
And that's what it's actually called.
Or a monetary type war.
Right. And it's actually called.
And you can assets.
Right. You can look it up. It's called unrestricted hybrid war. And that's the actual technical term for it. And it's everything but basically boots on the ground. It's every other aspect of
you say, you have nuclear war and you have conventional war fought with conventional weapons.
Correct.
This is just another phase. Like you said, it's a hybrid war. Information, economics, and political savvy, I guess, between countries. I guess.
Right.
Well, it's a multi-level war, isn't it? It's on multiple levels.
Right.
Is that what you mean, though? Like economics?
Yeah, because basically what it is that conventional war in regards to boots on the ground and things like that are kind of dead, right? Because we've lost a bunch of those. We've lost Vietnam, North Korea didn't go that well, Afghanistan. These were conventional boots on the ground, right? And 20 years later, we're still fighting that situation. So what basically now what they do is it's more of a logistical war. It's more of squeezing. It's more of hacking. It's more cutting off logistics because you didn't take Rome down. They couldn't sack Rome. They couldn't get through the walls of Rome. So what they did was they cut the logistics of Rome off. They cut the supply line from Rome off.
Water.
Food, basically. And what that also did is that caused inflation. That's what caused. So now, because they couldn't get, let's just use a simple term, they couldn't get a loaf of bread because they couldn't get the flour. It caused that price of bread to go up there in Rome. Well, then the government started taxing more, and it sounds like what's going on today. Now the government started to tax more because of the high cost of things, and eventually there was a revolt from within. It imploded within because of the fact that they weren't able to get food, which caused the price of food to go up, and then taxes went up, and then that's how actually eventually how they ended up sacking them was because they were able to squeeze them, rather than beat them. So that's kind of where wars are looking to go now. There's no way you could put boots on our ground. We can't put boots on the ground in China because we have no access point. Losing Afghanistan, we have no staging point to be able to put boots on the ground. So
that's where in our country, this is where I have problems with the people who say about the farm subsidies, where they're telling people to not grow crops or destroy their crops. That don't make sense to me when we got world hunger. We help feed the world. That's politically shooting ourselves in the foot if we're going to have our farmers and livestock people killing their animals or killing our wheat or our corn or like you said, our commodities. It's suicide.
There's a
to
couple.
do that.
And I'm trying to put this together in my head also. Now, you have a couple of things. One, you have the aspect that the big boys don't want the little boys to grow crops because I would rather pay you 10 cents.
Right.
And just say, I'm going to use simple numbers. I'd rather, if I sell my goods for $1 and you can come up and do it for 90 cents, I'd rather pay you 10 cents to not do something and then sell my crops for $1.10.
Shane, I'm not trying to take over your show. I'm just trying to create conversation.
No, I'm enjoying. Just.
Okay, good. No, I'm enjoying it too.
Well, go ahead.
Okay, so that's one aspect.
Go ahead.
That's one aspect of it. Now, I'm not saying I agree with that, but I'm just saying that's what a Monticello you know what I'm trying to. It's early. These bigger companies do is they'll rather pay you the 10 cents to not grow anything. Let's just say, because that would have been your profit. Let's just say, right? I don't know the numbers. I'm using simple numbers. And I'll just sell, once I shut you down and pay you 10 cents not to do anything, I'd rather just sell my product for $1.10 or $1.20. Because now I don't have competition and I can still make money because I'll just mark mine up because you don't exist. Now, do I think...
No. Is it the little farmer that suffers, but not the big corporation farm? Like,
correct.
Let's just take North Carolina. Okay, everybody has Dole or Class Kate's pickles on their shelves, but we have like Mount Olive pickles. We have several different pickle companies, which are made from cucumbers.
Right.
But like the big companies of Dole, Kate's can probably knock out Mount Olive or a smaller company. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Basically.
I'm following you. Go ahead. I'm following you.
Right. I can pay you to not open. You know what I mean? And still cover your profit. So let's say your profit was, technically
$1 million. As a little company.
Right. Let's say for a little company, your profit was $1 million. I can give you that $1 million because I can, and I'm going to use this on a smaller scale. So let's say your profit was 10 cents on a corn, right? 10 cents on a corn. I can give you 10 cents to not grow stuff, and then I can now sell my corn for $1.10. I'll just tack your fee for you not to grow, but now I control the market.
And you can still pay me not to grow corn.
I can still pay you not to do anything. And now I control it, and I can now sell for whatever price I want to sell because you don't,
or you can buy the little guy out.
Or I can buy the little guy out. So that's one of the things. The other thing too is we do a lot, and I'm going to use corn again. I'm going to make my life simple. A lot of our food is sent to places like China. And then, or at least it was, they stopped taking some of it back this year, which is kind of weird. I did a video on that. But if we don't have enough corn to give China, we can now limit what we're going to give to China, which is also it. So now we're strangling them out a little bit with food. So we're growing enough for us, but we might not be growing enough to provide China with it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So now they're basically saying, look, we only got enough for us. Sorry, we can't help you, China. You know what I mean? So you have that type of squeeze play also. So there's a lot in regards to, things like that happen also. But they don't talk about stuff like that because, and another thing too is this is another reason why I think that, we're at war with China is China and Japan hold most of our debt, right? They hold most of our debt. So some of the biggest, I think the largest debt is college tuition, right? College student loans. Student loans is our debt as a country, and then Social Security and stuff falls down there. One of the things that we're waiving right now is student loans. We're waiving student loans, so we are not technically paying back our debt to China because we're waiving some of the stuff that would be ways for us to pay China back. We're waiving our student loans. We got people collecting unemployment. We can say we don't have jobs and we're waiving, all this stuff. So that's another tactic in regards to paying back China or covering our bonds is student loan money. And why else?
And like you say, it can get really complicated when you're talking semiconductors.
Right.
And little components that go in that are cars, Ford, General Motors and Dodge or whatever, how they they need those semiconductors.
Correct.
And they're probably holding them back from us. Like you say, it's a different type of war.
Right. And if Jeff was still in here, he messaged me earlier and said at 6:00 they're going to run out of supplies, and he does automotive, and that's another thing that is basically a huge thing is that that semiconductors gold, right? It's gold because trucks are breaking down, things are breaking down that need these semiconductors, and without them, our trucks can't run. So that's something that, is a big deal. And
I think that was what Trump was trying to do, was to get companies to come back into the country. But he only had 4 years. I mean, that's a lot of stuff to do in 4 years. And, like you say, he upset the apple cart.
Right.
But, there's only so much you can do.
4 years with two impeachments, it'd be pretty hard to get a lot done.
Absolutely.
Say again?
What was it? 4 years, two impeachments. It'd be hard to get a lot of stuff done in that short amount of time.
Well, that's why we were asking earlier about Australia, because
I thought I heard that Australia and America.
It's a big company. It's a big country, but a lot of territory. But
we don't have many people though. We've only got 25 million.
But it doesn't. What I'm saying is as far as our vehicles and stuff with the EPA and the regulations and stuff like that, we've shot ourselves in the foot by making all these where used to you had wires to spark plugs to make the engines combust. Now it's computer driven and semiconductor and diodes and all that type stuff in those engines now, because we regulated it out. It is crazy.
Yeah, I've just pulled up semiconductors, and it says TechSpot is just semiconductor market on pace to grow 17% in 2021 shortage, expected to end by mid 2022.
2022 to
17% growth in 2021 shortage, expected to end by 2022.
I think they have a couple issues there. So one of the things is that technology is getting so much faster. Some of the chips that we're using now are obsolete, and they're creating better chips. So I don't know how that's going to affect that. That's one thing. But it's just like I remember talking to Jeff and Jeff Riddle, and I'm like, why are they building cars that they're just storing? I mean, at some point, there are so many cars. And I think it's because they don't want to tell us that we're actually in trouble. They're just keeping this stuff going because so many cars out there that have no chips that can't run. I mean, Jeff Riddle drove around his neighborhood And it was miles and miles of these cars. And it's like, you gotta be kidding me. And that's just one. That was just Michigan. And there's, so there's other places, and it's just like.
Well, that's where the precious metals are coming into play, where silver and zinc, whatever metals they are, they're chromium and all that stuff, and whatever, some man-made metals probably, and they're just not there. I mean, or they're in North Africa or somewhere. I mean, it's just
right.
It's hard to get to them.
I'll let y'all later.
Oh, you still here, Monty?
Yeah.
Did you just wake up?
Where have you been?
We haven't heard from you for about a good 10 minutes. Did you hear about the apparently Samsung is going to invest $17 billion into the chip industry in Texas? Is it the 5nm chip?
5 nano chip.
Yep.
Nano something. Yeah, that's one. There's 5 and 7s.
So we can't pull these chips out of we can't pull them out of older vehicles. Recondition them.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Strange.
Some can.
It sounds really strange. Why would you continue? Well, yeah, like you said, if you take out, everything will fall, won't it? The cards will fall.
Right. Trying to find where this thing landed.
Well, we're all so smart. Just think of all the, what is it called, the boneyard, where they have all those air in like Arizona or somewhere where they have all them airplanes. They're made of metal, and I'm pretty sure their electronics in there could be scavenged or whatever to, it's not like the metals have disappeared off the planet. It's just that maybe we can go, maybe that's the thing we can do is scavenge boneyards and naval ships, mothball them. I mean, there's got to be some metals on those ships and places like that. We got, like you say, we got to use our brains. We just can't.
I think a lot of them microchips are made out of gold, and I'm not sure. Do you know what they're made of, Sage?
Well, obviously gold's a superconductor, so I'm going to say gold. Copper is one that's a good conductor. And I think silver, maybe. But besides that, I don't know. I just know that, copper is a big one because that's a very good conductor. And, of course, gold.
See, the good thing about all this happening is now now our eyes are open and we see what the problems are, so we can move forwards.
Right.
It's just we're going to have some pain in the meantime.
Those little pads that they stick on when they're doing your heart monitoring and stuff.
Yep.
Those on the box, it's got the symbol for silver, metal, the metal silver. Of course, with the foam, and they're joined whatever for them little pads that go on your chest or whatever, or even the EEG thing on your brains. Those things have like silver. There's people just don't realize, like petroleum, how much, like in plastics and other things, petroleum's involved in all that. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's a big thing too, and it's just people don't know. People are just they don't know.
That's why I don't get panicked, because there's always someone out there way smarter than I am. And if I can think of those things, definitely, there's some Einsteins walking around out there that can keep us from walking off the cliff of oblivion, I guess.
Yeah.
Because this is what makes me angry, is they've taken all the jobs away. They've virtually killed manufacturing in this country. They've probably killed it in your country too.
Yeah.
Where do we start?
Well, it's crazy that, like in North Carolina, we were really big in textiles. And so we ship the materials, in the lower states, we ship our cotton and everything over to other countries to make the materials to send back to us to make the fabrics, or it's just like where it was all done here, it's all over the world now. And it don't make sense if we're shipping stuff over there to be and then sent back over here to be rebuilt into something. I mean, there's a middleman there that someone could do the job, I think. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and what it's based on, and this falls under logistics. So it's based on a couple things, and I usually explain this with like T-shirts. So normally, let's go with normal times. Normally, a container of goods that you would ship on a boat would range anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000. So I could ship a whole container of something from here to China for $2,000. Either a 20-foot container, 40-foot container might be $3,500. All right, so that whole container can be filled with 36,000 pounds of T-shirts, which is a lot of T-shirts, to China.
Or the cotton.
Right, or the cotton or whatever to China. Now, their cost of their labor to make that shirt, because they even outsource it to Ethiopia, right? So the cost and you can look this up, Ethiopia, you can pay somebody like $200 a year, not a day, but a year, and that's a good wage over there.
Yeah.
Okay. So then the cost to ship that whole container back normally, now right now it's like $30,000, but it should be $3,000. So I'm going to base this on a normal year. To ship it back is $3,000. So you can technically do that for a lot cheaper. Now, another reason why China does stuff for cheaper is that they're not just selling to the United States, they're selling to the world. So it's based on volume. Now, for me to make that same shirt here, if I were to hire somebody for, let's say, $30,000 a year rather than $300 a year, and $300's high, it actually costs me $42,000 to hire someone for $30,000, because I have to pay an additional $12,000 in taxes and benefits on top of your $30,000. And that's what people don't understand. Is like when I hire, because I own my own business. So when I hire someone and I'm going to pay them a wage of $30,000 a year, I'm going to end up paying anywhere from $12,000 to $15,000 on top of that 30 to hire that person. On top of my taxes for my property, on top of all my other expenses. That's why when they're like, oh, the rich doesn't pay any taxes. Yes, they do. Because like I said, for me to hire someone at 30 grand, I have to match. If you pay tax, I have to match it. Plus benefits, plus whatever else, it ends up costing anywhere from $12,000 to $15,000 on top of that 30. So for me I would rather pay somebody $300 than pay somebody $42,000 to make T-shirts. And that's where it's like, how cheap would you be? How cheap could you make shirts for $1 a day? or $2 a day or $3 a day? Not a chance. But they can. And that's what people don't seem to understand, is that countries like Ethiopia and the stuff that are actually doing this, it's so much cheaper for them to do it and ship it back normally that I couldn't even make that here for that price. And I did this with you can get a blank T-shirt. Let's say you were going to open up a T-shirt shop here and you were just going to wholesale the T-shirts. If you get T-shirts from China, they're like $2 a T-shirt. If you get one that's made in America, 100% made, the cotton's picked, it's woven in America, that blank T-shirt,
$24.95.
just the blank is $10. Just the blank T-shirt. Yeah. So now I've got to hire someone to create I got to buy a store, buy the equipment, or if I do it for my home, let's say, and pay someone, if I'm not doing it, to stamp the T-shirt. I also have to pay someone to come up with the design of the T-shirt, and that's only one color, and then make that. I can't sell that for $10 at Walmart because it's going to cost me $20 to make it. So now I got $20 to make it, and I got to make something. Well, unless I'm doing volume, I might have to sell it for $30 because it took me an hour to make it. Let's just say approximately. Let's just say you round up for an hour. That's $10 an hour, and I'm only got a $10 profit. So unless I can sell 100,000 of these T-shirts, I can't do the volume. So that's why this is why people get confused. But if I can get the goods from China delivered to me, the T-shirts already made and delivered to me in a container, and I bought the T-shirts for $1, and the container only cost me $2,000 to get it here, I'll do that all day long because it's going to cost me $42,000 to hire one person here.
Right.
Does that make sense? So that's where it's not just about, us ramping up manufacturing and hiring people and doing this. It's the fact that you won't pay for a $50 T-shirt. You got to, I talked, it's just like I explained this to, he has 5 kids. I'm like, how many T-shirts did you buy for school for 5 kids? Like, oh God, I don't even know. Could you afford $50 a T-shirt for those 5 kids? Or are they only going to go to school with 1 T-shirt? You know what I'm saying? So that's because of that, everything else we have to pay and the volume that China does. It's not just about the fact that of the cheaper labor. It's also about the volume that they do selling to the world. They can sell a T-shirt and only charge 10 cents a T-shirt, because if you're selling 1 trillion T-shirts, that's 10 cents times 1 trillion. You know what I mean? That volume is easier for them to make up for that. Where now here, I have to sell the shirt for more because I don't have the volume. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just like we sell our garbage now and recyclables and all that stuff. I mean, it's how the big wheel rolls around,
Correct. But that's a lot of times what people don't seem to realize is that it's that cheaper over there just because the way we've designed the way we do things. And like I said,
Americans throw away so much stuff that even the poorest countries could actually use our garbage. I mean, if you think about it, it's like really screwed up. But
right,
as long as it's not perishable or rotten, well, there's probably something to do with perishable and rotten stuff. I don't know.
Right. But it's like I said. So it's a lot more than people realize when it comes to that.
Well, people are learning how to. I noticed in foreign countries. I was watching something the other day where they're making their own fuel out of, stuff, plastics or whatever. I don't even remember.
Cooking oil. I know that I've seen that.
Mm-hmm.
But Hey, I got a little bit of work to do before my day gets started, so I'm gonna jump off here. And I'll talk.
I'm gonna do Travis, and I'm gonna crash the train as well.
Okay.
I've got an hour to head to the shops before curfew starts.
Nice.
I'm going to come find you, Sage.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on, Sage. Thank you, Davy Jones, for coming on, and thanks for being a part of the show.
I'll come back again.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And thanks everybody for being in the chat too. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely got to thank the chat.
But cool. All right, I'll check you guys out later. See
All
ya.
right, thanks, Sage. Thanks, Davey. Nice talking to you.
You're welcome.
See you, chat. See you, Davey.